Chapter 160. It was another winter. Heavy snow fell from the sky, covering the silver ninth successive spiritual mountain with ice and snow. It was like a fairyland. Yi Qinghan had gone through 3 months of seclusion. When he came out from the back mountain of the inner sect, he became mysterious and his black hair danced in the wind. His 2 arms had become combat weapons, condensing a large amount of 6th-grade demon bone essence. They could break an ordinary 5th-grade combat weapon. Master is mighty. 4th step of the Grotto Heaven Realm, the Azure Dragon arm appears, and the world rises and falls. The parrot shouted flatteringly. 4th step of the Grotto Heaven Realm was still 1 step away from the Fate Palace realm. However, there was a demon in his heart that prevented him from going any further. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fist. He was satisfied to see more than 10 young inner sect children cultivating crazily and improving at a rapid pace. Si Wuxia was still as cold as ice to outsiders. He was as arrogant as the sun and did not allow others to approach him. He was as cold as ice that could freeze the heavens. However, he could not be cold to Emperor Yi and Yi Mingxi because he would be beaten up. Master, brother, the 3 little ones came forward, exuding a powerful and terrifying aura. Si Wuxia, in particular, had a high-level bloodline that could not be restrained. He stood out from the crowd. Emperor Yi and Si Wuxia were both 2nd step of the Grotto Heaven realm. Yi Mingxi had already reached the 3rd step, following closely behind Yi Qinghan. Her speed of improvement was unbelievable. Jian Chenxue was like an otherworldly fairy. Her white dress fluttered without any wind. Her face was full of smiles. Her cultivation had reached the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm. Her combat strength was slightly weaker than Emperor Yi and the others, but she was much stronger than Lin Hong. You're all improving fast. Yi Qinghan nodded. His voice was hoarse and full of vicissitudes. Lin Wutian came forward with his sword in his arms. He bowed and said, Uncle Master, Master said that he would need about 10 years to refine the sword seed in seclusion. Okay, I got it. Yi Qinghan nodded. The sword seed Saraira was not easy to refine. Once it was refined, its combat strength would be on a completely different level. Lin Wutian had been in the inner sect for 3 months, and had become deep and steady. He could transform into a sword at any time, and his imposing manner was swift and fierce. He had the demeanor of a sword master, and his cultivation base was nearing the late bitter sea stage. Uncle Master, I want to go home and cross the sea of bitterness when I come back. I hope Uncle Master will agree. Lin Wutian bowed again and requested. Now, his cultivation had skyrocketed. As a disciple of the crazy sect, his status alone was enough to suppress countless people. Lin Wutian once said that he would return in glory. Now that he was qualified to do so, he didn't want to show off or anything. He just wanted to settle some of his worries so that he could go all out to cross the sea of bitterness. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, You don't have much experience. Let your senior brother Lin Hong bring you around. It'll be a good experience for you. I'm going too. Yi Mingxi was excited. She had been in the inner sect for a long time, and a lively person like her couldn't stand it. I'm going too. I'm going to protect Sister Mingxi. Si Wuxia said proudly, like an adult. Who needs your protection? Do you want to be beaten up? You can go, but you have to listen to me along the way. Yi Mingxi vowed. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. With such a group of little demons together, they could absolutely run amok on Owl Falling Star. As long as they didn't go to the blood prison, there would be no problem anywhere. Son, follow them. Remember, you can't go to the blood prison, and you can't go to the Demon Valley continent. Yi Qinghan warned in a deep voice, Emperor Yi is your senior sister. Whoever dares to disobey her will be expelled from the sect. Everyone kept quiet out of fear. They knew that Yi Qinghan was very serious. Whoever dares to disobey Emperor Yes will definitely be unlucky. Traveling 10,000 miles is better than reading 10,000 books. If you want to cultivate the great Tao, you must first look at the various states of the common people. You are not allowed to fly during this training. Walk all the way to Qingzhou. If you encounter anything, you must think twice before you act. Yi Qinghan seemed to be making arrangements for his death. He turned around and looked at Li Jiuchong and the others. His fingertips trembled slightly as he pondered for a moment before continuing. Jiuchong, you are the most mature and have the strongest will to protect. This time, you and Emperor Yi will lead the team. If you have any problems, discuss them with her. Yes, Master, this disciple will definitely not disappoint you. Li Jiuchong bowed and said, Master, senior brothers and sisters, can I go too? Tai Hua's face was full of anticipation like a lump of iron. Everyone was changing, except for him. He had been in the inner sect for 4 months, but he still hadn't opened up his sea of bitterness. Yi Qinghan looked at Tai Hua and was speechless. Such a weirdo was hard to come by. Even if a person with no cultivation talent was thrown into a place like the inner sect that was full of spiritual energy, he should be able to open up his sea of qi on his own. Tai Hua actually couldn't open it, and there were so many people teaching him. How stupid was he? Go. Maybe it's a problem of vision. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and said. The parrot's eyes flashed as it stared at Yi Qinghan. It thought to itself, this guy is definitely going to go far away, and it's very dangerous. I can't follow him. Master, are you sure you want to go out with so many children? Why don't I go with them? Don't worry, with me around, they are absolutely safe. Even if a Tao master invades, I can send him to the blood prison. The parrot vowed. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and said disdainfully, If you go with them, I'm worried that you'll send them to the blood prison. The parrot was speechless. Yi Qinghan sent a group of inner sect disciples out of the eccentric sect. He couldn't help but frown when he saw Dongfang Haoyue and Sidu Wanli, who were rushing over from afar, covered in blood and missing limbs. They were extremely miserable and were almost all skin and bones. Mr. Yi, we found the materials for the face restoration pill you needed. But we encountered a terrifying creature and escaped with great difficulty. We don't have much life left. Please save us. The two of them knelt on the ground. Their clothes were ragged, and they looked battered and exhausted. They respectfully offered up a cosmos ring, then looked at Yi Qinghan expectantly. They also looked at the parrot with gratitude. The parrot cursed, F***ck, you can come back alive like this. You're not destined to die. Yi Qinghan looked at the two idiots who were actually grateful to the parrot. He reached out and took the universe ring and said indifferently, You've worked hard. I'm going out for a while. You can cultivate at the foot of the inner sect mountain. You're not allowed to enter the inner sect. We'll talk about it when I come back. Thank you for your guidance, mister. We'll definitely sacrifice our lives and never betray you. The two knelt, their bodies still spurting blood. Yi Qinghan shook his head and summoned the small cloud-piercing ship that Khan Stan had specially left for him. He walked in with the parrot and drove the cloud-piercing ship into the sky. His destination was Owl War Planet. Back then, the Great Astral Formation was not activated for no reason. The main formation must have been destroyed. He had to find out who betrayed him. Otherwise, it would be like a bottleneck that would prevent him from entering the Fate Palace realm. The universe was vast, majestic, and imposing. Even the Xiaolong region was boundless. Countless stars stood in great numbers. Stars were constantly aging, turning into shooting stars and smashing into the end of the universe. They turned into a wisp of dust and disappeared without a trace. Yi Qinghan set the coordinates and let it fly freely. His eyes overlooked the star region and his heart followed the universe as it flew back to the Owl-Dragon region. Master, where are we going? Is it dangerous? The parrot trembled. It felt that this trip was very dangerous. Owl War Star, the place where I fell back then. Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a cruel smile as a bright light exploded from his eyes. Owl War Planet was at the edge of the center of the Owl Dragon region. It was now broken into several pieces, but there was still a gravitational pull between them. They did not turn into meteors and scatter. Every piece of broken Owl War Planet was stained with blood and turned into a red hell. Shrubs grew and flew into the sky. It had been 8 years. This place had become a land of death. Even adventurers were not willing to go near it. Countless creatures died tragically. Eerie skeletons piled up like a mountain. The flesh had long melted and the smell had dispersed. Owl War Planet was now eerie and terrifying. Occasionally, a gust of wind would blow, making people's hair stand on end. There were even evil spirits roaming at night. They were unwilling to die tragically and devoured each other, forming powerful evil spirits. In the ruins of the Yi family, the palace collapsed. More than half of it was burned by fire. Only half of a stone tablet stood proudly. The stone tablet of the Yi family was cut in half. The other half leaned against the stone tablet. It was stained with blood and was covered by shrubs. The sorrow and loneliness of Owl War Planet was fully displayed. It was heartbreaking. Woo-woo as the cold wind blew, specks of green light flickered in the gloomy night sky. The ghost fire on the ground flowed everywhere. The baleful aura was so dense that it was tangible. Cultivators with weaker willpower would be scared to death here. Yi Qinghan spent 3 months flying from Owl Fall Planet to the periphery of Owl War Planet. He looked at Owl War Planet from the Starry River. His eyes almost spat out flames. His hatred overflowed to the sky. His clothes fluttered in the wind and his killing intent spread everywhere. The parrot was so scared that it hid at the side, not moving at all. What a terrifying place! How many people died here? 10 billion? 20 billion? The parrot said to itself in shock. It peeked out of the corner of its eye and trembled all over. It then turned its head to look elsewhere. Yi Qinghan steered the cloud-piercing ship and slowly approached a slightly bigger piece of broken Owl War Planet. The baleful aura rushed over, almost enough to shatter the cloud-piercing ship. Master! The parrot's hair stood on end. It was incomparably terrified. Yi Qinghan opened the cabin door. The astral wind outside could almost tear apart a 4th-grade spirit weapon. His clothes fluttered in the wind, and his 5th-grade armor fluttered. His vigorous and cold eyes were filled with supreme willpower. With a casual wave of his hand, he imprisoned the parrot on his shoulder and put away the cloud-piercing ship. The god-slaying eagle was awakened and rushed out of Yi Qinghan's body. It looked at the broken Owl War Planet with a terrified expression. It couldn't even fly and quickly returned to Yi Qinghan's body. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Yi Qinghan faced the wind and the ground trembled slightly. The environment here was extremely harsh. The shrubs that could survive here were extremely hard and hard to be damaged by blade. Kacha, the eerie white bones had long been eroded by the wind. They were crushed with a light touch and scattered with the wind. The terrifying whistling sound made the parrot bury its head in its chest, not daring to look. Yi Qinghan restrained his rapid breathing. His eyes were like torches as he gripped the demon dragon saber tightly. The baleful aura that filled the sky was crazily absorbed by the demon dragon saber. The baleful aura of the demon dragon saber was almost enough to crush a Dao sovereign expert. The baleful aura became the demon dragon saber's tonic. A huge tornado formed in the sky. The baleful aura was sinister, causing the demon dragon saber to become incomparably evil. It emitted a green saber ray. His name was Feng Sha, and he came from an ancient organization. Those who could enter this organization were all at least at the level of a supreme battle king from a certain star field. Furthermore, they had to go through a strict examination before they could join. The saber on his back was a famous ancient soul-devouring saber. It could pierce through a person's body with a single slash, and it could directly devour the person's soul. It was said that this saber had once swallowed a peerless divine martial expert. The more souls the soul-devouring saber devoured, the stronger the soul, and the saber would evolve accordingly. It was one of the few weapons that could evolve. It was unknown how long Feng Sha had been cultivating in the Yi clan's ruins. He borrowed the evil energy to cultivate his murderous aura, and the word "kill" on his shoulder became even more sinister. His entire body became lifeless, and he was like a peerless weapon. It was fine if he was motionless, but when he moved, he could destroy mountains and rivers, and crush his opponent's Tao heart. Owl War Star's ravine was deep, and it extended for 10,000 li. A chilly wind swept through, and a terrifying sound was produced. It was as if there was a terrifying vicious beast under the ground that wanted to rush out. Time passed little by little. Yi Qinghan gradually adapted to Owl War Star's evil energy. His entire body circulated with precious light, and his divinity shot out in all directions. Yang energy burst forth to resist the evil energy and murderous aura. "Master, I really can't take it anymore. Let's quickly leave this place." The parrot was forced out of his body, and it was trembling in fear. "Come with me to find something." Yi Qinghan stood up without hesitation, and was about to enter the depths of the Yi clan. At this moment, Feng Sha walked out from the depths of the Yi clan. The evil energy blocked the two's divine senses, and they were completely unaware of each other's existence. The path took a turn, and the two's eyes met outside the Yi clan's gate. Sparks flew, and evil energy filled the air. The demon dragon blade and the soul devourer blade shook at the same time, and when they came in contact with the chilly wind, a sinister sound was produced. Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end, and the azure dragon arm wrapped around the demon dragon blade. He took a deep breath and stared at Feng Sha. Feng Sha obviously didn't expect there to be a second person in Owl War Star, and his cultivation level was actually at the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm. Interesting, the evil energy here is enough to kill an early-stage Tao sovereign. You, a rookie at the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm, actually dared to come in. Feng Sha looked at Yi Qinghan curiously, and there was no trace of emotion in his eyes. Yi Qinghan squinted his eyes and looked at the word "kill" on Feng Sha's shoulder. He felt that the word was like a divine weapon, and it seemed like it wanted to rush out and kill. This was the first time he saw such clothing, and he was sure that the person in front of him was definitely not from Xiaolong region, nor was he from any of the major forces in Xiaolong region. "What are you doing in Owl War Star?" Yi Qinghan asked cautiously. "Absorbing the evil energy." "What are you doing here?" Feng Sha asked coldly. "I'm looking for something. You're not from Xiaolong region, and you actually know that there's a destroyed star here. It seems like you've investigated it thoroughly." Yi Qinghan held the demon dragon blade tightly, and his entire body tensed up. Feng Sha's lips curled up, and he looked down at Yi Qinghan and said disdainfully, "Could it be that you suspect that I killed all the living beings here? Even if I did, do you still want to kill me?" Yi Qinghan looked at him coldly, and his fingertips trembled slightly. He wanted to leave this place. This young man was too terrifying, and confronting him was definitely not a smart move. "You're the remnant of this star? I'm also very interested in this star. Before this, I took a look at this star and found that the 8 trigrams part of the star array of this star was forcefully destroyed, causing the entire star array of this star to lose its function. It can't be activated normally," Feng Sha said indifferently. The star array of Owl War Star was made up of a total of 4 arrays. 8 trigrams, Tai Chi, Yin Yang, and Heaven Dipper. They all protected each other, and none of them could be missing. In order to focus on cultivation, Yi Qinghan gave the 4 arrays to his wife, father, and disciple, Nangong Po. He controlled the eye of the Tai Chi array, and the 8 trigrams array was given to Nangong Po. Nangong Po! Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. Nangong Po was an orphan that he personally picked out from a pile of bones. He raised Nangong Po himself, and he treated him like his own son. Furthermore, Nangong Po was extremely talented, and he had always treated Yi Qinghan as his father. He was deeply loved by Yi Qinghan. But I don't think there's a problem with the person guarding the 8 trigrams array. If he wanted to betray this star, he didn't have to forcefully destroy the 8 trigrams array. He just had to stop the array. Feng Sha said indifferently. Yi Qinghan's breathing stopped. That's right. If there was a problem with Nangong Powu, why didn't he stop the 8 trigrams array? Why did he have to forcefully destroy it? Unless he didn't understand the 8 trigrams array. But how could Nangong Powu, who was guarding the 8 trigrams array, not understand the 8 trigrams array? I'll bring you to take a look at the 8 trigrams array. Feng Sha slowly turned around and walked directly into the depths of the Yi residence. Yi Qinghan gripped his demon knife tightly and followed him in without hesitation. The Yi residence was in ruins. The 8 trigrams courtyard was Nangong Powu's other residence. The foundation of the 8 trigrams array had been uprooted, and all traces of it had been destroyed. With just this evidence, it was impossible to find out who betrayed him. Yi Qinghan looked at the broken 8 trigrams courtyard and took a deep breath. His 5 fingers pierced into his flesh, and blood spurted out. Feng Sha looked at Yi Qinghan curiously and sneered. Yi Qinghan quickly rushed out of the courtyard and came to a flattened courtyard. This was the place where the yin-yang array was guarding. It was Jian Shui's residence. The yin-yang array had been wiped out, but the eye of the array was still there. This meant that the yin-yang array had not been destroyed. Feng Sha looked at Yi Qinghan's bleak back, and a trace of confusion flashed in his eyes. He whispered, "Your will is not bad. You can actually resist the terrifying baleful aura. When you reach the Dao Sovereign Realm, perhaps you can join my organization. I hope you find your enemy soon. See you in 10 years. After Feng Sha finished speaking, he used stellar transposition and directly left Owl War Star. Yi Qinghan looked at Feng Sha leaving and did not think too much about it. The parrot, on the other hand, was excited. It whispered, "I seem to remember that there was such a force with the word kill embroidered on its shoulder. But it wasn't very clear. Let's ignore him for now. I need to find out who destroyed the foundation of the 8 trigrams array," Yi Qinghan said. "That's easy. We'll know once we find Nangong Po. If it wasn't Nangong Powu, then it must have been someone else. Who could destroy the foundation right under his nose? Luring the tiger away from the mountain? It must be someone he trusts a lot. But it could also be Nangong Powu, who did it on purpose to divert attention. As long as we find him, all problems will be solved," the parrot said seriously. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. "That was a good idea. But I think it's better to leave for now. This place is too obvious. Once a spy finds out that someone came here, it will definitely attract the attention of your enemy. At that time, you won't be able to leave even if you want to," the parrot advised. It did not want to stay here any longer. This place was too terrifying. As time passed, the vengeful spirits would become stronger and stronger. Yi Qinghan nodded. He knew that he could not stay here for too long. After midnight, the baleful aura would multiply, and it might affect his Dao heart. He soared into the sky and summoned the cloud-piercing ship in midair. Then, he drove the cloud-piercing ship into the galaxy. The planet closest to Owl War Planet was Owl Dragon Planet, the territory of the Lu family. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. He drove the cloud-piercing ship and flew in. The Lu family was not the only power on Owl Dragon Planet. The Lu family was not as strong as the other families. They shared Owl Dragon Planet with many other forces. Almost all the rank 5 forces in Owl Dragon region had their own forces on Owl Dragon Planet. This place was very complicated. After Yi Qinghan entered Owl Dragon region, he kept the cloud-piercing ship and strode toward a big city. Qianshui City was one of the bigger cities on Owl Dragon Planet. It stretched for millions of miles, which was equivalent to half of Owl Falling Star. "Wow, this planet is not bad. Let's occupy it," The parrot's eyes flashed as it said excitedly. Humph, this planet has gathered thousands of rank 5 forces. If you want to die, you can come and occupy it, Yi Qinghan said coldly. Thousands of rank 5 forces? Forget it. When we can defeat so many forces, we will look down on this broken planet long ago, the parrot said without hesitation. Yi Qinghan restrained his aura and entered Tianshui City. The city was full of spiritual energy. It was more than one level stronger than Owl Falling Star. The cultivation of the experts in the city was also much stronger than Owl Falling Star. It was not something that the Big Dipper spirit gathering formation could reverse in a short period of time. Chapter 162. In Tianshui City, the sky and water merged into one. It was a magnificent sight with an ancient aura. The parrot's eyes gleamed as it discovered many treasures, but they all had owners. Yi Qinghan restrained his tyrannical aura and looked like an elegant young master with a parrot by his side. His face was unrestrained and unrestrained. Hey girl, look over here. There's a handsome guy over here. He's 20 years old. He's handsome and elegant. He's from a wealthy family. He's not married yet. Let's walk around and take a look. If you don't like him, it's free. You won't be taken advantage of or be tricked by him. If you like him, you can even sit down for a meal and chat. The parrot stood on Yi Qinghan's shoulder like an awe-inspiring general. Wherever it went, it would say these words, attracting the disdain of countless people. You can either shut up or say something else. I'm here to pretend to be a hedonistic son of a rich family, not to look for a groom. Yi Qinghan frowned. He didn't know where the parrot had learned these words from. My family's young master is a hedonistic young master. He doesn't pay for his meals, and he doesn't take responsibility for picking up girls. Get lost. Mockery came from both sides of the street. People loved the parrot, but they despised Yi Qinghan to the extreme. Hey, is this parrot for sale? I'll pay 1,000 low-grade spirit stones. A young man in embroidered clothes had an arrogant attitude. This was a true hedonistic young master. Get lost. You want to buy me for 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals? This divine bird is priceless. I'll consider it for 10,000 high-grade spirit stones, the parrot said disdainfully. The young man's face darkened. 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals to buy a pet parrot was already very rich and generous. But he was actually called a poor young master by a human, no, a bird. This was intolerable. Ha ha, this bird is really cute. Everyone laughed and liked the parrot even more. The parrot arrogantly raised its head and sneered at the crowd. What do you think? I gave you face. The parrot said smugly. Ha ha ha. Yi Qinghan sneered and clenched his fist. He was on the verge of exploding because of the parrot. Yi Qinghan quickly left the street. He could not afford to lose face like this. There was a sea of people in the city. Every road led to the center of the city. Yi Qinghan relaxed his state of mind and began to comprehend the various facets of life. With the parrot around, it was like a ray of light wherever it went, attracting people's attention. In addition, Yi Qinghan's skin and flesh were really too good-looking. If it weren't for the profligate look in his eyes, he would have attracted many women. Yi Qinghan imitated his younger brother, Yi Kuan, to the point where no real expert would pay attention to him. The spies were also too lazy to pay attention to a spoiled brat. Hey beauty, can we be friends? Go away, rogue. I'm giving you face by being friends with you. Do you know who I am? I am the 7th young master of the ancient Shi family, Shi Gu. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and looked at the other side of the street. He saw an even more spoiled brat. He was about 20 years old and had an arrogant look on his face. He had the charm of an ancient family and had reached the peak of the Fate Palace realm. He was only half a step away from becoming a Tao master. Damn, what a spoiled brat! The parrot said disdainfully as it saw Shi Gu flirting with a little beauty. It was filled with a sense of justice. The girl seemed to know that the Sher family was a super family and did not dare to offend them. The man beside her also hid far away. She had no choice but to turn around and leave. Pa Shergu walked in with a dissolute look. Then, he looked intoxicated. He played the spoiled brat to the extreme and reached a new height. The girl was trembling with anger. She looked at the man beside her and did not dare to speak. She suddenly burst into tears. The young man beside the girl blushed. He wanted to be angry but did not dare to. He was a complete loser. Seeing Shergu like this, he did not dare to refute or stop him. The girl was extremely disappointed. F***ck. How can such a man take a girl? Is this girl blind? The parrot was flustered and exasperated. It wanted nothing more than to go up and give him 2 big slaps. The surrounding people were angry, but did not dare to speak. Even more people despised the man beside the girl. Such a man was simply a coward. Tsk, it's a pity that she has poor taste. If she wants to find a man, she should find a hot-blooded man like me. Otherwise, why would she want a man who doesn't even dare to fart when his woman is being bullied? Shergu said narcissistically. Shameless. You're even more shameless than me. The parrot admitted defeat. You've gone too far. Taking liberties with an innocent woman on the street. Where is the dignity of ancient times? The young man was incomparably angry. He was submissive and his voice was like a woman's. What are you talking about? When did I take liberties with an innocent woman? You'd better give me an explanation. Show me the evidence. Otherwise, I'll blaspheme the dignity of the Sher family. It's not something you can resist. Sherji's face darkened as he said in all seriousness. Oh my God, this. Do I need evidence? Such a lowly person. I loathe him. The parrot was going crazy. It wanted to rush over and see who was more lowly. Don't cause trouble, Yi Qinghan warned coldly. This isn't Ulfal planet. If you offend a powerful expert, you won't be able to escape. The parrot's imposing manner suddenly dropped. It was its style to bully the weak and fear the strong. It would rather be beaten to death than face a powerful expert alone. Its sense of justice was to beat a drowning dog. The young man was suppressed by Sherji's imposing manner. He lowered his head and fled. The girl's pitiful appearance made Shergu lose interest. He turned around and left. He glanced at Yi Qinghan and the parrot on his shoulder, and his eyes lit up. What a handsome parrot! Shergu said excitedly. It's very spirited. I can tell at a glance that it's a priceless bird. The parrot's eyes lit up as soon as it heard this. Its loathing for Shergu disappeared. They looked at each other, and a feeling of appreciation appeared in their hearts. Handsome, you have good taste. I'm the future emperor of all beasts. I'm not just priceless, I'm priceless. The parrot arrogantly looked at Shergu with eyes full of admiration. Wow. I'm drunk. Sherji's face lit up. It was the first time that he had seen a pet praise him like this. They were birds of a feather. Yi Qinghan, I'm called the devouring spirit hawk. You can call me divine bird. Little Sher too, you won't dislike me if I call you that, right? The parrot said in a loud voice. Shergu. Yi Qinghan felt like throwing the parrot to Shergu and then turning around and walking away. Brother, let's find a place to have a drink. I'll treat you. Shergu was speechless. However, he had taken a fancy to the parrot. He felt that this bird could enhance his pretentious image. He would be able to attract the attention of girls wherever he went. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched. He felt that it would be good to follow this debauchee. At least he could attract a lot of attention. He could also take advantage of this opportunity to inquire about Nangong Pawu or some interesting information. Okay, then I'll have to trouble Brother Sher. Yi Qinghan smiled. Don't mention it. I like to make friends. I'm a charitable person. Let's go. We hit it off right away. I'll take you to the most luxurious hotel in Tianshui City for a drink. We won't go home until we're drunk. Yi Qinghan looked at Shirgu. Although he was a debauchee, his eyes were clear and pure. It could be seen that his heart was not as bad as others thought. At least, he had his own bottom line. He would not fight with evil people. Perhaps he would even seek revenge. Yi Qinghan was very willing to make friends with such a person, so he nodded. Tianshui City, heavenly pavilion of national beauty. There were countless beautiful cultivators and women, attracting countless debauches and debauches. Yi Qinghan and Shirgu brought along the parrot. They were full of debauches. Their heroic spirit soared to the sky. Bounties were flying everywhere. They gave out mid-grade spirit crystals. They could not even take out low-grade spirit crystals. Immediately, they attracted the attention of countless female cultivators. Yo, this little brother looks unfamiliar. Since you can come with Uncle Shur, you must be a young master from some rich family. A young woman with revealing clothes and a charming voice said. Her voice was so charming that it could make people's bones go soft. Yi Qinghan sized up the woman in front of him. Her eyes were deep and vast. He could not tell how deep they were. She was definitely a difficult person to deal with. He secretly had a contest in his heart. This is my brother. He's called. All right, brother, what's your name? Shirgu smiled. He just realized that he did not know Yi Qinghan's name. His face immediately turned red. Yi Qinghuang. Yi Qinghan said concisely. After all, it was too dangerous to say his name. Who in Xiaolong City did not know Yi Qinghan? Even if he had died 8 years ago, it would still attract people's attention. Qinghuang? Ha ha, what a good name. You're indeed my brother. Shirgu laughed and said to the young woman, Huan Yang, call Sister Hua, Sister Kuei, and Sister Hua from your National Beauty Pavilion to accompany my brother. Call my favorite little fox fairy from the Fox clan to the private room as well. Bring a table of good wine and dishes. I'm not short of money today. Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a smile. Hua Kuei of the National Beauty Heavenly Pavilion should know a lot of information. Perhaps she could find out about Nangong Po. At the very least, she should be able to find traces of Yi Kun. There was a private room on the 3rd floor. It was luxuriously decorated. The nude pictures were charming and mesmerizing. This private room cost 500 mid-grade yuan for 2 hours. Any woman would have to spend several thousand mid-grade yuan. If one was not a rich man, he would not be able to play here. Soon, the young woman brought in a pair of twins. They were otherworldly. Their beauty was not inferior to Jian Qinshue's, and their figure was not inferior to Huang Xiaoming's. In this brothel, they still had a sense of purity. No wonder they were called Huan Yang. In addition, they were a pair of beautiful sisters. To men, they were a fatal temptation. The beautiful sisters were dressed in white and were very beautiful. Master Shur, little fox fairy heard that you're here. She's happily putting on makeup and will be here soon. Huan Yang was excited. As long as she served these 2 masters well today, it would not be a problem for her to make a lot of money. Shirgu looked at Huan Yang with an intoxicated expression. He looked like a rich man. Yi Kun was half a level lower than him. After a while, the door of the private room was opened. An extremely seductive woman appeared. Her eyebrows were naturally shaped like a fairy. Her every move could hook a man's heart. No wonder Shirgu was so mesmerized by her. Master Shur, you're finally. Aya. The young woman from the Fox clan had just pushed the door open when she was forcefully taken away by a large hand. Shirgu was furious. With a wave of his hand, a large brick appeared in his hand. He rushed out of the private room and roared, "Which bastard? Do you have a death wish?" Chapter 163. A big hand of nothingness took the little fox immortal away. Shirgu was furious. He had always been the one who took liberties with others. Today, the person he had chosen was taken away in the room. This was not just a slap in the face. "Get out here!" Shirji's face was livid. He held the golden brick in his hand. It was filled with the pattern of the Great Path and was majestic. It was definitely a treasure above the 5th grade. Yi Qinghan squinted at the brick in Shi Ji's hand. A message flashed in his eyes. In history, there was a powerful expert who used a brick as a weapon. This kind of strange weapon was rare in the world. The brick in Shi Ji's hand should have been made by that powerful expert. The parrot's eyes flashed. It wanted to snatch the brick, but the pressure on the brick was so strong that it did not dare to move. Shi Gu stood on the 3rd floor with a cold and arrogant face. He looked down at the heavenly pavilion of national beauty. Countless beauties looked up and whispered, "Who provoked this master? Isn't he asking for trouble?" Hundreds of Fate Palace and even Dao Master experts in the hall looked at each other. They stopped what they were doing and stepped aside, waiting for the show to begin. Huan Yang hurried out and grabbed Shi Gu. She said flatteringly, "Master Shi, you can talk slowly. Today's matter is not your fault. I promise to give you a satisfactory answer." The heavenly pavilion of national beauty was full of beauties. If there were no experts, how could it stand in Tianshui City for thousands of years? In the heavenly pavilion of national beauty, everyone had to give Huan Yang face. After all, she had a wide range of friends. Who was the one who took Little Fox Fairy away? Please send her back. Our heavenly pavilion of national beauty emphasizes on first come, first serve. No one can fight for her. If you still recognize me, please give me face. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning hostile. Huan Yang's manner changed. She was no longer seductive but dignified. I took her away. Huan Yang, what did I say 3 days ago? I wanted to book Little Fox Fairy for 10 days. You let her out today. Are you looking down on me or the Feng family for not having the money to pay? A cold voice came from the opposite room. It was disdainful of Shi Gu. It's the 6th young master of the Feng family, Feng Wuxia. The top 10 of the younger generation in Xiaolong region. I remember it's ranked 9th, right? This is going to be a good show. The Shi clan's 7th young master versus the Feng clan's 6th young master. These two cousins have been fighting since they were young, and neither side is willing to give way to the other. I wonder who will win this time. While everyone was talking about it, Huan Yang's face changed. 6th Master Feng, this is Huan Yang's lack of consideration. You said 3 days ago that you wanted to pay the deposit, but you didn't show up for 2 days. I thought you didn't want it, so I let Little Fox Immortal come out to receive Master Shi. Huan Yang said with a wry smile. That is to say, he hasn't paid yet. If I pay the spiritual crystals before him, then I'll go first. Huan Yang, I want the Little Fox Fairy today. Help me deal with it. If you can't, don't blame me for not giving you face. Shi Gu sneered. They were the strongest youths in Tianshui City. Normally, they would fight openly and secretly. They all wanted to slap each other in the face, but their fighting strength was equal. This was a good opportunity. If they didn't slap each other in the face a few times, they wouldn't be able to sleep well at night. Huan Yang, I said that I will pay the deposit within 3 days. Isn't today the 3rd day? So Little Fox Fairy must stay in my room today. You can deal with the rest. If anyone dares to snatch her away, don't blame me for being impolite. Someone opened the door of the opposite private room and walked out. A young man with an elegant demeanor walked out. His purple robe fluttered without wind, like an immortal. Although his name was Feng Wuxia, there was a trace of wanton and unruly evil aura hanging from the corner of his mouth. Yi Qinghan ignored the sisters and came to the door with the parrot. He leaned against the door frame with his hands crossed in front of his chest. His face was full of wanton and unruly, like a complete dandy. The parrot surprisingly chose to shut up and squatted on Yi Qinghan's shoulder to watch the show. A black line appeared on Huan Yang's forehead. She was a little mad. Today's matter was not the fault of the two young masters. If she had to say something wrong, it was her fault for forgetting that Feng Wuxia had booked Little Fox Fairy. Master Shi, give Huan Yang face and let me treat you today. How about it? Huan Yang smiled bitterly and said with a somewhat pleading tone. I don't lack money, what I lack is a breath. It's not that I don't want to give you face, but I don't want to let that bitch have her way. Shi Ge glared at the indifferent Feng Wuxia. He wanted nothing more than to throw a few bricks at Feng Wuxia and turn his handsome face into a pig's head. Master Qi, if you don't fight today, Huan Yang will waive your bill for 10 days. How about it? Huan Yang's tone was a little harsh as she stared at Shi Ge. Unfortunately, Shi Ge was stubborn. If he didn't slap Feng Wuxia a few times today, he would have nightmares at night. Huan Yang, you go and ask Feng Wuxia to give up Little Fox Fairy and waive his bill for 10 days. He is short of money, maybe he will agree. Shi Ge sneered. I'm so poor that I only have spiritual crystals left. Even if you kneel down and beg me today, Little Fox Fairy will not go to your side. At worst, I'll buy her and take her away. Don't even think about touching her hair in the future. Feng Wuxia seemed to be deliberately provoking Shi Ge and mocked him disdainfully. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and didn't want to get involved. The purpose of his visit today was to investigate the whereabouts of Yi Kuan, Nangong Po. He didn't want to get involved in the fight between the disciples of the big families. Feng Wuxia glanced at Yi Qinghan and his eyes flashed. Looking at Yi Qinghan's expression, he knew that Yi Qinghan was not familiar with Shi Ge. Moreover, the light in Yi Qinghan's eyes did not dissipate and his body was emitting a terrifying evil qi. Even if it was restrained to the extreme, Feng Wuxia could still sense the danger. He's an expert. Although he's only at the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm, he's definitely not weaker than someone at the Fate Palace realm. Feng Wuxia thought for a moment and said to Yi Qinghan, Fellow cultivator, if you don't mind, please come over to the opposite side. There are a few geniuses of Shaolong region here. Let's have a chat. Shi Ji's expression changed drastically. If Yi Qinghan really went over, he would be completely humiliated today. Thinking of this, he immediately stared at Yi Qinghan. It's boring to eat with a playboy. Wuxia can see that you're an expert. You're eating with him because you want to gather information. I have a lot of information here. As long as you want to know, there's nothing that I can't find out. Feng Wuxia said proudly. He was going all out to humiliate Shi Ge. F***ck. In terms of information sources, I'm not worse than you. Brother Yi, let's go in. I don't want to compete with this bastard. He's embarrassing me. After Shi Ge finished speaking, he reached out to pull Yi Qinghan back, afraid that Yi Qinghan would go over. As the saying goes, don't slap a smiling face. Since Feng Wuxia took the initiative to show goodwill, Shi Ge couldn't offend him. Maybe Feng Wuxia could really provide some useful information if he couldn't find any information today. Thank you for your invitation, fellow cultivator Feng. Today Brother Shi is treating. If I refuse now, I'll be too ungrateful. Another day, I'll treat you. The location is still here. I hope Brother Feng will give me some face. Yi Qinghan said with a fist salute. Ha ha ha, you flatter me, flatter me. I Feng Wuxia only make true friends. This foppish man only makes fair-weather friends. Brother, you must be careful. Don't be careless. Feng Wuxia laughed. He did not forget to hit Shi Ge on the head. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. Shi Ge looked like a playboy, but he was actually very loyal. On the other hand, Feng Wuxia looked calm and unrestrained, but he was actually very smart. He was definitely not someone to be trifled with. The two smiled and nodded, then returned to their respective rooms. Brother Shi, this Feng Wuxia is very strong and smart. I advise you not to compete with him for face. Yi Qinghan lightly reminded. Don't worry, I've been dealing with him since childhood. I've already known his temper. I can't beat him, but he can't beat me either. Shi Ge snorted and said to Huan Yang, You said it's free of charge for 10 days. I won't be polite. Find me a new girl. Her cultivation must be above heavenly insight realm. Consider it my compensation. The corner of Huan Yang's mouth twitched, and she couldn't help but smile bitterly. Shirgu really didn't want to be polite. The price for 10 days was at least 3 to 400,000 medium-grade spirit stones. Plus, he wanted a new female cultivator above heavenly insight realm. This price would be 30 to 50,000 medium-grade spirit stones. Oh, okay, Huan Yang will vomit blood this time. As long as you're happy. Huan Yang felt her heart ache and turned around to leave the private room. Brother Yi, thank you for your help. If you really followed me, I wouldn't be able to raise my head in Tianshui City anymore. Shirgu cupped his fists and said, You're too polite. I'm not a person who bites the hand that feeds me. Yi Qinghan lightly said. Huan Yang soon brought a peerless female cultivator. She was at the first step of Fate Palace realm. Her face was blushing. It seemed like it was her first time here. Shiji's mood suddenly became good. Such a female cultivator cost at least 30 to 50,000 spirit stones a night. Moreover, there was a price but no supply. Many women wanted to cultivate, but because of the lack of spirit stones, they could only do things that they had no choice but to do. Yi Qinghan didn't look down on her, and Shirgu didn't despise her either. Then, a large table of delicious dishes was served. Most of them were special dishes. Each dish cost more than 10 medium-grade spirit stones. If one's family didn't have a good foundation, one meal would be enough to bankrupt them. Yi Qinghan smiled. Tonight, he still needed to rely on these two sisters to provide him with information. Therefore, he had to maintain a good relationship with them. Occasionally, he would take the initiative to tease them and pretend to be a good-for-nothing disciple. He talked with Shirgu while eating. He got some information about what happened 8 years ago, but it wasn't important. He didn't get any information about Yi Kuan or Nangong Po. Yi Qinghan didn't dare to ask directly for fear of arousing their suspicions. After the meal, Shirgu brought the female cultivator to the guest room. The two sisters looked at Yi Qinghan expectantly. They hoped that someone would book the whole place tonight. After all, their price was very high. Not many people could book the whole place for the night. Yi Qinghan looked at the two women in front of him. He knew that they were the best in this place. They must have a good source of information. He said, Leave tonight to me. I have something to ask you. If the information you provide is useful to me, spirit stones won't be a problem. The two sisters were overjoyed. This was a big business. As long as they did well today, they could leave this brothel tomorrow. What does young master want to ask? We will definitely tell you everything we know. Xiao Yen and Xiao Mo quickly said. Yi Qinghan shook his head and didn't say it directly. This was no small matter. He didn't want to cause any trouble. Quietly investigating and then quietly leaving was the best choice. Chapter 164. Yi Qinghan said to Xiao Yen and Xiao Mo, I can give you 1 million, but I only need information. I also want to erase your memories of tonight. I hope you won't resist. If you don't agree, you can leave now. Erase their memories? Xiao Yen and Xiao Mo's faces turned pale. This was equivalent to handing their lives over to Yi Qinghan and letting him do whatever he wanted. Today's matter is very important to me. I won't trust anyone. Erasing your memories is the best way, Yi Qinghan said coldly. The two sisters looked at each other, gritted their teeth, and nodded solemnly. It seemed that he really needed a large amount of spirit crystals. Otherwise, he wouldn't have agreed to such a request. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and set up a large array that enveloped the entire courtyard. He looked at Xiao Yen and Xiao Mo and asked in a deep voice, I want to know everything about Owl War Star from 8 years ago and where those who escaped went. Also, have you seen Yi Kuan? Xiao Yen and Xiao Mo's expressions changed greatly. They sucked in a breath of cold air and stared at Yi Qinghan with flashing eyes. Their bodies trembled slightly. Young master. Xiao Yan looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. Seeing his cold eyes, she quickly lowered her head and said, "These years, Owl Dragon region has forbidden anyone from talking about Owl War Star. However, the young masters especially like to talk about it. Therefore, they would come to the Heavenly Pavilion and open a private room for us. Then, they would talk about these forbidden topics. In other words, you know a lot?" Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. He knew that the 1 million he spent today was well worth it. "Yes," the two sisters said respectfully. "Tell me directly. What happened after Yi Qinghan self-destructed? How many Yi clan members escaped from Owl War Star and where they went?" Yi Qinghan asked hurriedly. The atmosphere in the room became heavy and oppressive, and Xiao Yan's face was slightly pale. They could only listen to these taboo topics, but they didn't dare speak of them. They were afraid that the experts of the great powers would find out and mercilessly crush them. After Yi Qinghan self-destructed, some of the 100 Dao Masters and great martial venerables who were besieging Owl Warstar managed to escape. However, half of the Dao Masters were killed by the shockwaves. Many of them died, and Owl Warstar was completely destroyed. Xiao Yan said in a low voice. The Yi clan was almost annihilated, but in the end, a few people managed to escape. His friend Gu Qingyu took the opportunity to escape, his wife Jian Shui, his brother Yi Kuan, and his last disciple Nangong Pawu also managed to escape. However, Nangong Pawu was besieged by the experts of the 3 major powers and finally disappeared into the merciless ocean. As for Jian Shui, she disappeared after escaping from Owl War Star and never appeared again. What about Yi Kuan? Yi Qinghan's eyes emitted cold flames, and his 5 fingers dug into his flesh. He was almost certain that there was a traitor. Yi Kuan appeared once, but he disappeared very quickly. Now, no one knows anything about him. Even the young masters of the major clans are wary of him. Now, very few people try to find out about him, Xiao Yan said respectfully. Bastard! Don't let me find you! Yi Qinghan's voice was hoarse, and his murderous intent had never been so strong. The temperature in the room dropped to the extreme, and the two sisters' faces were filled with terror as if they were facing a supreme expert. Huff, 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 the sound of rapid breathing filled the room. Yi Qinghan slowly stood up. His hair danced wildly in the wind, and the icy flames in his eyes burned one's soul. It was as if he was about to be possessed by a demon. Young master. Xiao Yan was shocked. Yi Qinghan's current appearance clearly showed that he was possessed by his inner demon. She quickly pounced forward and fiercely bit Yi Qinghan's arm, trying to wake him up. However, this bite almost broke her teeth, as if she had bitten a 5th-grade combat weapon. Ouch! Xiao Yan's eyes were filled with tears, and she felt that her row of little white teeth had loosened. Yi Qinghan was also awakened by Xiao Yan's madness, and his face couldn't help but become deathly pale. What happened in the past always caused him to fall into his inner demon. If this matter wasn't dealt with properly, it would definitely become a source of disaster in the future, and he wouldn't be able to cultivate in peace. Thank you. Yi Qinghan's hoarse voice was filled with sorrow and the vicissitudes of life. His gloomy face made one's heart ache, and the sorrow in his eyes seemed to be endless, making one involuntarily want to cry. Xiao Yan and Xiao Mo's hearts raced. They wanted to go up and comfort him, but they didn't dare to go any closer. Yi Qinghan was looking for Yi Kuan, but he didn't know that Yi Kuan had already left the Xiaolong region. At this moment, his entire body was covered in injuries, but he didn't dare to approach any powerful forces. Instead, he was currently hiding in a narrow mountain range. Yi Kuan was currently in an extremely sorry state, as if someone was chasing after him. Bastard, don't let me find out who's behind this, or else I'll definitely kill your entire clan. Yi Kuan was much more haggard. His playboy temperament from the past had completely faded away, leaving only iron blood and experience. He was decisive in killing and swift in action. Shio shio shio. Several black-clothed men flashed across the sky, and all of them were great revered martial artists. To deal with someone like Yi Kuan, one of them would be enough. However, at this moment there were so many of them in a team. It seemed that the force behind the person who wanted to kill him was definitely not simple. Surround this mountain range for me. Don't let him escape. As long as we kill him, our mission will be completed. The rank 6 secret technique of the Immortal Gate realm will be easily obtained. Several black-clothed men said in deep voices. Damn it, he's just a little brat. I don't understand why Sir is spending so much effort to deal with him, chasing him from the Xiaolong region all the way here. However, this little bastard is really good at running. His ability to conceal his aura is strong enough. As long as we don't meet him face to face, we won't be able to discover him. One of the black-clothed men said angrily. Of course, we're killing him to silence him. After all, his secret technique was taught to him by Yi Qinghan. It's normal for him to be able to avoid our spiritual sense. However, it doesn't matter. Once we kill him, we'll have an easier time. With the rank 6 secret technique, we'll develop a little and become the region lord of a small star region. Wouldn't that be carefree? Another black-clothed man said with a grin. Yi Kuan hid in a cave in the valley, not daring to make any movements. He was afraid that he would alarm these experts. The mountain range stretched endlessly. It was vast and majestic. It was not easy to find a person here. However, it was not easy for Yi Kuan to escape either. Fortunately, these people in front of him wanted to take the credit for themselves. They did not report the situation here. They thought that it would be easy for 4 martial venerables to catch a little brat at the Life Palace realm. Their thoughts also gave Yi Kuan a chance to escape. After the few of them spread out, they began to push towards the center from all directions. They wanted to chase Yi Kuan to the center like a rabbit. Yi Kuan gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to run towards the center. At that moment, he did not dare to use any of his true core. His entire body was covered in blood. Soon, the 4 of them chased Yi Kuan to the center of the mountain range. At that moment, a very young man came to the outside of the mountain range. He was handsome and his black hair reached his shoulders. He was looking curiously at the 4 martial venerables. They were chasing creatures deep into the mountain range like rabbits. He could not help but be surprised. He used his spiritual sense and discovered that there was another person deep in the mountain range. This person had managed to avoid his spiritual sense at first. Interesting, there's actually someone who can avoid my spiritual sense. The young man stepped into the mountain range and followed a man in black. He was clearly very close, but the man in black was unable to discover him. It had to be said that this person was definitely a top expert of the younger generation. Rustle, 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 Yi Kuan frantically ran away. His entire body was covered in blood and his eyes were bloodshot. He was directly chased to the center. The 4 martial venerables grinned coldly. They had finally discovered Yi Kuan's figure. Brat, why aren't you running any more? One of the men in black laughed cruelly. He wanted to torture Yi Kuan. Who are you people? I have no enmity with you. Why are you chasing after me? Yi Kuan asked hatefully. Brat, you won't have the chance to know. Go down and accompany your family. Another man in black did not want to complicate matters and directly attacked to kill Yi Kuan. At that moment, the young man quietly appeared in front of everyone and calmly said, Hold on. Actually, I'm also quite curious. Who is this brat? Who are you people? Why are you chasing after him? Brat, don't meddle in other people's business. This is our Tiandu Palace's matter. If you want to interfere, you should think twice. The men in black were shocked. A person had appeared behind them, and they had not noticed. If the person had launched a sneak attack, would they have been able to survive? Tiandu Palace? The Tiandu Palace in the Azure Dragon domain? A dignified Tier 6 sect actually wants to kill an immortal sect and is even relentlessly chasing after them. This makes me even more interested. Furthermore, I am also interested in the background of this little fellow. I want to know how he managed to evade my divine sense in the beginning, said the young man proudly. Senior, save me. I'm willing to give you the secret technique. Yi Kun gritted his teeth and directly abandoned his bottom line. In order to survive, he was willing to give up everything. Fellow cultivator, our Tiandu Palace is also following orders. I advise you not to interfere. Think about it, if our Tiandu Palace's palace master is working for them, can you afford to offend him? The man in black warned in a deep voice. TSK, I'm getting more and more interested. So I want to know what this brat has that's worth you people chasing after him so relentlessly. The young man's aura changed. He slashed out with his sword and directly killed the 4 strong cultivators. It was incomparably terrifying. Pucci, before the 4 martial venerables died, their eyes were filled with shock and regret. They should have called for more help. Unfortunately, now that they were dead, they did not even have a burial ground. The young man coldly looked at Yi Kun and coldly asked, Brat, who are you? Why are they chasing after you? Yi Kun was shocked by the young man's strength. He had only seen this kind of aura from Yi Qinghan and Gu Qingyu. He did not expect to encounter it today. Senior, I'm from the Yi clan of Xiaolong region's Xiaozhan planet. However, the Yi clan has been completely annihilated. As for why they are chasing after me, I'm also confused. It's impossible for the Yi clan to have such an enemy. Yi Kun dispiritedly sat on a rock and sadly said, The Yi clan, I seem to have heard of it. I think there's someone called Yi Qinghan. Who is he to you? The young man asked in astonishment. He's my brother, my blood brother. Unfortunately, he's also dead. Wah! Yi Kun wailed loudly and regretfully roared, Big brother, I've let you down. The Yi clan, I've let you down. I really deserve to die. If I wasn't such a hedonistic person, how could the Yi clan endure such a disaster? The young man frowned and coldly said, Why are you crying as a man? Stand up and follow me. The young man and Yi Kun brushed past the Xiaolong region and missed Yi Qinghan by a hair's breadth. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fists at this moment. He had an indescribable anger towards Yi Kun. A hedonistic person had defeated an entire clan and defeated an entire planet. It was simply unforgivable. Chapter 165. In the courtyard, it was dark before dawn. Outside, one couldn't even see one's fingers. A terrifying aura spread into the void. There was no one outside. As time passed, there was some light. The city outside was so beautiful, like a fairyland surrounded by celestial qi. Inside the house, Yi Qinghan took out a yin and yang ring and placed it on the bed. He then sat cross-legged beside the bed to cultivate, waiting for the dawn to come. The parrot galloped in Tianshui City, chirping, I am a lonely divine bird, destined to go against the wind and rain. The next day, Yi Qinghan pushed open the courtyard's doors and was greeted by the sight of Shi Gu and Feng Wuxia. The two of them were locked in a fierce battle, neither willing to give way to the other. Are these 2 idiots done yet? Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. He didn't want to offend either of them here. The 2 young masters woke up so early. What brings you to my courtyard so early? Yi Qinghan pretended not to know and asked curiously. Fellow Taoist, Wuxia is organizing a small gathering of heroes. I'm here to invite you to join. We can exchange our experiences and information. Maybe we can find the answer you want. Are you willing to join? Feng Wuxia cupped his fists and said. Feng Wuxie, are you sick in the head? This is my brother, not yours. If you want to recruit him, you have to find a good partner. Shi Ge glared at Feng Wuxie and scolded angrily. What a joke. I, Feng Wuxie, am willing to be friends with this fellow Taoist. I feel like I've known him for a long time. Why can't I communicate with him? Why can't your friend be my brother? Feng Wuxie asked in disdain. A small gathering of heroes? With your bunch of friends? What else can they talk about besides eating and drinking? Shi Ge mocked. Then, he said to Yi Qinghan, Brother Yi, let's go. I'll show you what a real gathering of heroes is. Shi Ge and Feng Wuxie were the two most powerful warriors of the younger generation in the Heaven Water City. They had a lot of friends, and each of them occupied half of the city. The entire evil dragon star was under their control. It would be a piece of cake for them to hold a gathering of heroes. Yi Qinghan was speechless as he watched the two of them fight. These two were true experts of the younger generation. Just the brick in Shi Ji's hand was enough to sweep through the entire younger generation. Feng Wuxie was even more ridiculously powerful. His foundation was unknown, and he couldn't afford to offend him. Fellow Taoists, there's no need to argue. Why don't we get together? I'll treat you to a meal today. What do you think? Yi Qinghan said calmly. I am willing to give you some face. I just don't know what this foppish brat is thinking. Feng Wuxie shrugged and smiled eerily. Shi Ji's mouth twitched. He clenched his fists and gripped the golden brick in his hand. He really wanted to smash that golden brick into Feng Wuxie's handsome face, so that he would never want to leave the house again. Of course I have to give you some face. I'll just force myself to have a meal with this despicable person. Shi Ge didn't back down. Since it's Brother Ye's treat, we won't eat here. I know a new restaurant open nearby. It's good food and cheap. It's still on sale. I know Brother Yi doesn't lack money, but it's better to save as much as possible. Feng Wuxie gestured with his hand. Yi Qinghan nodded and transmitted his voice to Shi Ge. Brother Shi, let's not argue today. I have important things to do. It's not suitable for me to get involved in your argument. Shi Ge nodded. He didn't want to make things difficult for Yi Qinghan. The three of them left the Heaven Pavilion. The parrot didn't rest for the entire night, but it was extremely excited. It must have found a treasure. Ao, master, I accidentally heard a piece of news. It might be something you need. The parrot laughed. What news? Yi Qinghan frowned. I heard a piece of news about Jian Shui. I don't know if she's the person you're looking for. Maybe they have the same name. The parrot opened its mind and shared part of its memory with Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's fingertips trembled. He saw a piece of news that made him excited. Jian Shui, who had disappeared for 8 years, had reappeared, and she was in the Shaolong region. Let's not talk about her for now. Even if she appears in front of me now, I can't recognize her. I'll look for her when I become a Tao master. Yi Qinghan transmitted his voice. Then, he followed Feng Wuxie and Shi Ge to the center of the city. Feng Wuxie and Shi Ge called for a group of people to gather at the entrance of Yang Restaurant. Most of them were at the pinnacle of the Fate Palace realm, and their combat strength was superb. They were the real kings of the younger generation, and were not much weaker than Yi Lingyu when they were at the same level. This is a brother I just met. Brother Yi, ahem. Feng Wuxie coughed. They didn't seem to like to ask for other people's names. They only remembered when they were introduced. Shi Ge sneered and said to the group of people he was familiar with, Brothers, Yi Qinghuang is my good brother. In the future, when you see him, you see me as you see me. Yi Qinghuang? Who is he? How could he be recognized as a brother by Feng Wuxie and Shi Ge at the same time? The two sides looked at each other and stared at Yi Qinghan. When they found that he was only at step 4 of the Tao Insight realm, they guessed that Yi Qinghan had benefited from the fight between the two sides. Everyone showed respect to Shirgu and Feng Wuxie and cupped their fists to show their goodwill. There were 12 people in total. The worst of them was ranked in the top 20 on the Xiaolong star. 4 of them could be ranked in the top 50 of the Xiaolong region. Shirgu and Feng Wuxie were another story. Tianshui City is indeed a place where good and bad people mix together. With these people, they can sweep through a region. Yi Qinghan said secretly. You guys go in first. I have invited 2 other friends. They will wait for a while. Feng Wuxie said lightly. Who can make Brother Feng wait for them? Did you invite the little princess of the Lu family, Lu Ning? Quang Batian, a young expert ranked in the top 34 of the Xiaolong region, asked curiously with a rough voice. Yes, Princess Lu Ning and Yi Lingyu will be here. Feng Wuxie said proudly. Being able to invite these 2 people was enough to show that his friends were much better than Shi Ji's. Yi Lingyu. That guy is really abnormal. He sealed his realm and then cultivated. Is he going to be crowned as the Supreme Battle King? Quang Baishan's expression changed. His heart trembled when he mentioned Yi Lingyu. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. His heart was beating wildly. He had a feeling that something bad was going to happen. His fingertips trembled as he thought to himself, Yi Lingyu's realm has been sealed? No wonder my son could easily break through his sea of consciousness. I wonder if he is an unknown factor. Once he recovers his memories, my life will no longer be in my own hand. Yi Qinghan revealed a bitter smile and said to Shirgu, let's wait together. These 2 are king-level experts of the Xiaolong region. We still have to give them some face. 2 idiots. Sealing their realms. What's there to wait for? Shirgu muttered. It seemed that he was very familiar with them. The parrot squinted its eyes and became unusually quiet. At this moment it also felt that there was a big problem. Yi Lingyu and Lu Ning both sealed their realms. Once they broke through the seal, they might be able to recover their lost memories. Master, let's run. The parrot suggested. No rush. Let's wait. They might not be able to break through my memory seal. Yi Qinghan transmitted his voice. Time passed slowly. Yi Qinghan felt tormented. He stared ahead, waiting for Lu Ning and Yi Lingyu to appear. After waiting for less than an incense stick's time, 2 figures appeared, causing Yi Qinghan's pupils to shrink. Yi Lingyu was wearing a white robe. He was as elegant as a god and his long hair draped over his shoulders. He was holding the hand of a 7- or 8-year-old girl. Her face was fair, and she was about the same age as Yi Mingxi. She was a complete beauty. Her long dress fluttered in the wind. The flute in her hand emitted the runes of the great Tao. Yi Lingyu's expression changed. His gaze became deep and profound. At a glance, he looked like a peerless weapon that could not be described. His eyes shone brightly as he stared at Yi Qinghan. The corners of his mouth curled up into a mocking smile. Yi Qinghan looked at Yi Lingyu's expression and knew that things were bad. Brother Yi, long time no see. I didn't expect to meet you here. Yi Lingyu walked towards Yi Qinghan with the little girl. His robe fluttered in the wind. He looked indescribably dashing. Lingyu, you know Brother Frivolous? Feng Wuxie was stunned and quickly asked. Frivolous? Yi Lingyu seemed to be very dissatisfied with Yi Qinghan's distrust of him back then. Yi Lingyu tampered with his memories. It was a humiliation, so he didn't look friendly. Lingyu, long time no see. Let's talk later. I'll give you an explanation. How about that? Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He didn't expect both good and bad things to happen at the same time. Okay, I'll see how you explain it to me, Yi Lingyu said coldly. Shirgu frowned. It seemed that the relationship between Yi Qinghan and Yi Lingyu wasn't that simple. There might be some enmity between them. Feng Wuxie was a smart person. He naturally saw that the relationship between Yi Lingyu and Yi Qinghan was not simple. He took the initiative to change the topic. He looked down at the little girl and said lovingly, "Jianma, long time no see. Did you miss Brother Feng?" Jianma's round eyes were crystal clear. They were like jewels with divine light flowing around them. She looked like a pure land in the mortal world, making people feel peaceful and kind. "Brother Feng, long time no see. Jianma didn't miss you because you didn't need me to miss you." Jianma's voice was like an oriole singing. Her humorous tone made everyone laugh. Especially Shi Gu, who was laughing so hard that he was cramping. Feng Wuxie smiled and shrugged. He turned around and pretended he didn't hear anything. Yi Qinghan looked down at Jianma. He then looked at the flute in her hand. There was a soul-stirring word carved on it. He couldn't help but murmur to himself, "Broken zither and broken flute." Yi Lingyu has a zither called Broken Zither and this little girl is called Broken Flute. When the two of them play together, their power is boundless. I didn't expect the inheritor of Broken Flute to be such an ignorant little girl. Jianma also stared at Yi Qinghan curiously as if she knew him. Chapter 166. Jianma and Yi Qinghan looked at each other emotionlessly. Why are there so many monsters? They are all so young. Is this the start of a glorious era? The parrot mumbled. The glorious era would be filled with heroes. True geniuses would spring up like bamboo shoots after the rain, appearing and falling. The truly invincible warriors would step on countless corpses to reach the peak and lead the human race to glory. Tens of thousands of years was a glorious era. Many people hated that they were born in the wrong era. Some people would rather seal themselves for thousands or even tens of thousands of years in order to appear in the glorious era. Once the glorious era appeared, it would not be strange for a terrifying monster to suddenly appear. While everyone was silent, Lu Ning floated over. She was like a fairy, and every move she made could draw upon the laws to follow her. The moment Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning looked at each other, a bolt of lightning flashed across their eyes. It was extremely cold, touching the deepest part of Lu Ning's heart. Feng Wuxie was shocked. Judging by the two's attitude, they should know Yi Qinghan. He did not understand. Yi Qinghan was only at the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm. How could he be related to 2 emperors in the top 100? Yi Qinghuang should not be his real name. Who is he? Feng Wuxie asked himself, but he could not remember any peerless geniuses that had appeared recently. Lu Ning's memory had not recovered, but it was more or less affected. The moment she saw Yi Qinghan, she knew that they had interacted before, but she could not remember. "Who are you?" Lu Ning asked in a low voice. Yi Lingyu sneered and said directly, "You'll understand when you break out of your sealed state." Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. The feeling of not being able to control his own life made his hair stand on end. It was extremely uncomfortable. Feng Wuxie felt that the atmosphere was extremely strange. He originally thought that Yi Qinghan's combat strength was just a little terrifying. Now, it seemed that it was far more than that. Today we don't care about personal grudges. Let's have a gathering. Please come in. Feng Wuxie gestured. A group of people stepped into the Yang restaurant. The place was crowded with young geniuses everywhere. There were countless Life Palace realm cultivators who looked like kings. It seemed like they were all disciples in charge of big families. Feng Wuxie and Lu Ning attracted everyone's attention as soon as they entered the restaurant. They all stood up and bowed with their fists. "Greetings, lords." "All right, sit down, don't be shy." Feng Wuxie nodded in return. He wasn't arrogant at all. Everyone had a good impression of him. Shi Gu despised Feng Wuxie. Feng Wuxie was smooth and slick. He treated everyone like this and didn't want to make enemies with anyone. In the circle of friends in Xiaolong region, he was probably the best. Yi Qinghan was escorted into a private room on the 4th floor. It attracted a lot of attention and discussion. Feng Wuxie, Shi Gu, Yi Lingyu, Lu Ning, and the rest would not accompany the young masters of big families. Yi Qinghan was only at the Grotto Heaven realm. What right did he have to be escorted into a private room? The large private room was divided into 2 tables. The room was spacious and bright. It did not seem crowded even with more than a dozen people. The walls were transparent and the outside world could be seen clearly. It was a picturesque scene that made people happy. Everyone here is a genius from Xiaolong region. I don't think I need to introduce you to each other. Let's have an open discussion today. Don't worry. I believe that everyone here is not a gossipy person. What we are going to talk about today is only known to us. Once word gets out, I promise to find him and give everyone an explanation. Feng Wuxie said in a deep voice. Brother Feng, we are all curious about Brother Ye's identity. Can you enlighten us? A Peak Fate Palace realm cultivator stared at Yi Qinghan and asked curiously. At this moment, except for Yi Lingyu, everyone was staring at Yi Qinghan, including Shi Gu. They were all very curious. Yi Qinghan glanced at everyone's clothes and found that some of them were from families he was familiar with. They had participated in the war years ago and slaughtered many disciples of Yi clan. Su clan, Wang clan, and Zhang clan. Su Yong, Wang Chongxing, and Zhang Quan had all participated in that war. Although 8 years had passed, how could Yi Qinghan forget that they had rushed into Yi clan to burn, kill, and loot? Yi Qinghan restrained his hostility and pretended not to know. He said indifferently, I am only from a small planet. Even if I tell you, you may not know. That's not necessarily true. Although Owl Dragon Domain is very large, there are so many of us. Some of us must have heard of it. Wang Chongxing narrowed his eyes and was somewhat suspicious of Yi Qinghan's identity. He had participated in the massacre of the Yi clan and was always wary of unfamiliar geniuses with the surname Yi. Moreover, Yi Qinghan and Yi Qingquang only differed by one character. If he really was a remnant evil, he would have to eliminate him completely. This Yi comes from Owlfall Star, a subsidiary star of the Stan clan. I am familiar with Stan Zhengquang and several other lords of the Stan clan. If you don't believe me, you can go and ask around, Yi Qinghan indifferently said. Ha ha ha, so you are a fellow Taoist from a subsidiary star of the Stan clan. I have a whole new level of respect for you. A few days ago, I remember that a supreme expert was chased to that place by several hundred Tao sovereigns, but for some reason, they all retreated. I am truly curious. I wonder if Brother Yi can explain what happened there to make so many experts retreat without even using a single move, Feng Wuxie excitedly asked. A savage beast appeared there, the Kuei ox. It was suppressed in the blood prison. Once Owlfall Star was shattered, the Kuei ox would be released and the entire Owl Dragon domain would be destroyed. Thus, no one dared to attack without permission. Yi Qinghan did not hide anything. This matter could be easily found out with a simple investigation. Moreover, it was even better to spread the news so that no one would keep an eye on Owlfall Star every day. The Kuei ox. Heavens, how could such an ancient behemoth appear in a small place like Owlfall Star? Everyone was shocked and speechless. Yi Qinghan shook his head. The existence that could suppress the Kuei ox had to be a powerful expert of the divine martial arts realm. Moreover, it must have been so long ago that it was impossible to deduce which divine martial arts realm mighty expert it was. It was normal that he did not know. Brother Yi, I heard that Owlfall Star is your second hometown. I wonder where your first hometown is? Yi Lingyu purposely asked with a smile. Yi Qinghan's fingertips moved slightly. He coldly raised his head and looked at Yi Lingyu. He secretly transmitted a warning. Yi Lingyu, are you forcing me to be your enemy? Humph, when you changed my memory, didn't you think of this day? So what if I force you to be my enemy? Yi Lingyu still held a grudge against him and disdainfully retorted. What do you want? Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. Fight with me and use your blood and bones as my stepping stone to strengthen my Taoist heart. Yi Lingyu transmitted a cold voice. Yi Qinghan was silent. Yi Lingyu's realm was close to the Tao Master realm. His combat strength was more terrifying than most experts at the early stage of the Tao Master realm. In addition, he and Yi Jinma played the broken zither waning moon together. Even if Yi Qinghan broke through the shackles of the Tao Insight realm and entered the Fate Palace realm, he would be no match for Yi Lingyu. If he fought with Yi Lingyu, he would definitely die. Give me 3 months and I will satisfy you. What do you think? Yi Qinghan asked seriously. Okay. 3 months it is. If you don't show up at that time, don't blame me for turning against you. I will make the entire Owl domain crazy. Yi Lingyu's cold voice was like a fierce knife stabbing into Yi Qinghan's mind. The atmosphere in the room became extremely oppressive. Yi Lingyu wanted to prove his Tao and suppress Yi Qinghan. He wanted to strengthen his Taoist heart, but he did not want to betray him. It was just that the persistence of cultivation was a little crazy. I will pay you back what I owe you. You risked your life to come to All-Fall Domain for the information of that year. I will fulfill your wish. Yi Lingyu sneered and took the initiative to break the silence in the room. Yi Qinghuang, you and I have known each other for so many years. How does it feel to be expelled from your sect? As your senior brother, I feel sorry for you. Yi Lingyu said with a mocking tone and fabricated an identity for Yi Qinghan. Brother Qinghuang is a member of Tianya Valley? Feng Wuxia looked at Yi Qinghan in surprise and could not believe it. So he is an abandoned disciple of Tianya Valley. No wonder Brother Yi opposed him as soon as you saw him. It seems like he did something shameful to be expelled from Tianya Valley? Zhang Quan looked at Yi Qinghan with disdain and sneered. It is not necessarily something shameful. It is just that he did not understand the general trend and was stupid. I will not say more about such a junior brother. You are on your own now. Yi Lingyu took Yi Qinghan's identity with just a few words, which made Yi Qinghan exhale a turbid breath. Ahem, Brother Qinghuang looks like he is only 18 or 19 years old. He is still young, so it is understandable that he did something wrong. Let's change the topic. Feng Wuxia cleared his throat to break the awkward silence and said, Fellow cultivators, the king-conferring competition 13 years ago has come to an end, but the Supreme Battle Monarch competition has yet to begin. It has been 300 years since the Supreme Battle Monarch competition. I'm sure you're all interested? Supreme Battle Monarch? One of the Supreme Battle Monarchs of Shaolong region is dead and 2 are missing. It is time to give our generation a chance. Wang Chong's eyes flashed with excitement. As far as I know, it will be soon. The Supreme Battle Monarch competition will start very soon. I heard that the Region Lord will come out of seclusion this time. Once the Supreme Battle Monarch is born, he will accept disciples to revitalize Shaolong region. Feng Wuxia was also very excited at this moment. He was very interested in the Supreme Battle Monarch title. Yi Qinghan moved his finger. The Region Lord had actually appeared. An immortal expert had not appeared in the world for more than 1,000 years. Even the Battle of Shao Zhanxing back then did not draw him out, so why would he appear now? Could it be that the experts of the human race were about to start the real Supreme Human Sovereign Training Program? Yi Qinghan's death is too unfortunate. Time did not wait for him. If he was still alive, how could we have gotten the position of the Region Lord's disciple? Shi Gu said regretfully. That kind of treacherous and selfish person. Even in death, he was not willing to hand over the God Martial Cannon. He would rather let such a supreme treasure disappear into the river of history than let the human race prosper. Letting him become the Region Lord's disciple will only harm Shaolong region. Zhang Quan disdainfully mocked. Ha ha ha, Brother Zhang Quan, Only a few of you from the younger generation dared to participate in the Battle of Owl Warstar. I wonder if you have any inside information that you can share with us? Yi Lingyu's eyes flashed as he intentionally asked. Ha ha ha, if you want to talk about inside information, no one in the younger generation knows better than us. Unfortunately, the elders of the clan have forbidden us from talking about it. Wang Chong laughed arrogantly. Chapter 167. The atmosphere in the private room became strange. Even Feng Wuxie was staring at Zhang Quan and the others. In the past few years, they had been very wary of the battle on Owl Warstar, unwilling to speak of it. On one hand, it was because their clan had forbidden them to speak of it, and on the other hand, it was because they were afraid that there were surviving members of the Yi clan who would seek revenge. 8 years had passed, and the Yi clan had long since been submerged in the river of history. Owl Warstar was like hell, and not even Grand Marshal sovereigns were willing to enter. Many people had already forgotten about Owl Warstar, but many mysteries still remained. For example, it had been too easy to break through Owl Warstar. Just who had destroyed the Yi clan's star array? In order to show off their abilities, the younger generation had constantly investigated, but alas, they had never finished what they had started. Brother Wang, Brother Zhang, can you dispel our doubts today? I believe that it's not just them who are interested. Brother Wuxie, Brother Shirgu, and I are all interested. This mystery can be solved with a snap of the finger, but it's stuck in our throat. We can't eat or sleep in peace. Yi Lingyu was well aware of what Yi Qinghan wanted to know, so he had taken the initiative to help him investigate. This could be considered repaying him for his guidance in the past. This, Wang Chongqing grimaced. He looked at Zhang Quan and Su Yong, and seeing them nod, he whispered, "In truth, we also don't know who betrayed the Yi clan, but we can be sure that it was one of Yi Qinghan's most important people. I heard that after Yi Qinghan obtained the God Martial Cannon, he was even on guard against his wife and brother, unwilling to reveal this vital secret art. This caused everyone to turn their backs on him, so it was only natural that Owl Warstar was broken through." Yi Lingyu faintly smiled, his voice filled with derision and mockery. Was Yi Qinghan petty? If he could give guidance to an outsider like him, this meant that he cherished talent, much less his wife and brother. It was just that some people had lost their minds to greed. Yi Qinghan had heard Wang Chongqing mention Jian Shui and Yi Kuan, but not Nangong Po. He was almost certain that Nangong Po had not betrayed the Yi clan. The true culprit was either Jian Shui or Yi Kuan, or both of them had betrayed him. Brother Wang is indeed knowledgeable. This is the first time I've heard of this. Otherwise, I would have thought that Yi Qinghan was a great hero who cherished talent and wished for the glory of the human race. Yi Lingyu mocked. T hero. This kind of shameless villain deserves to be punished by everyone. He would rather die than hand over the divine martial imperial codex. The Yi clan was also destroyed by him. This kind of supreme treasure disappeared along with his self-destruction. This is a huge loss to the human clan. He is the sinner of the human clan, Su Yong said coldly. What a joke. If others asked you for the Su family's ultimate secret technique, would you give it to them? If you don't give it to them, a group of bandits will come and wipe out your Su family. Instead, they will blame you for being shameless and despicable and not thinking for the human race. Are you happy? A bunch of shameless cheese. You still have the face to boast shamelessly here. Shirgu mocked disdainfully. Little Shirtu, you already said that they are a group of shameless cheese. How could they be shameless? What is there that can't be said? The parrot's words almost caused everyone to choke to death. You're seeking death. Zhang Quan and the others were unwilling to argue with Shirgu, so they could only settle the score with the parrot, wanting to crush it to death. Fuck, you really are a bunch of shameless cheese. The person cursing you is right here. Open your dog eyes and take a good look. Motherfucker, you still dare to glare at me. Do you think I'm easy to bully? The parrot angrily cursed. Sure go. Feng Wuxia was completely speechless. He hurriedly stood between them to prevent them from killing each other. He helplessly said, "Fellow Taoists, please don't get angry. It's just a parrot that's learning to speak. Why are you taking it so seriously? How can this kind of evil creature eat at the same table as us? And this Yi Qinghuang is just an abandoned disciple of Tianya Valley. His cultivation is only at the Grotto Heaven realm. I can crush him to death with one hand. I truly don't understand why Brother Feng invited him to come with us. He's simply a killjoy," Wang Chongxing angrily said. "Tch, you three evil creatures actually have the face to criticize this great divine bird. I feel ashamed eating in the same room as you." The parrot disdainfully retorted. A cold smile appeared on Yi Qinghan's lips as he stared at Wang Chongxing's group. "Eating with you people truly is a disgrace to my status. Fuck kid, don't be so ungrateful. Letting you in today is giving Brother Feng and Brother Sureface. Otherwise, what right do you have to enter? Do you think you're amazing just because you're treating? Who knows how many people want to treat someone like you to a meal, but can't even find a way. Today, Brother Wang dispelled our doubts, but not only are you not grateful, you even let your evil creature curse us. You're simply not putting us in your eyes." Quang Baishan's veins bulged as he angrily glared at Yi Qinghan, his eyes brimming with killing intent. "I was the one who cursed first. If you have a problem, come at me. If you want to fight, I'll keep you company." Shi Gu slapped the brick and stood up, his face filled with disdain as he looked at Wang Chongxing's group. Shi Ji's combat strength was already close to the top 10. With this brick, he would have no problem entering the top 5. How could Wang Chongxing's group be his match? If they worked together, they might be able to fight him. Seeing Shi Gu standing in front of them, they immediately stopped making trouble. "Damn, a bunch of trash. Only a bird like you would be willing to make friends with anyone. That's why you've ruined my good mood today." Shi Gu coldly glared at Feng Wuxia and took the opportunity to attack. Feng Wuxia's mouth twitched as he clenched his fists. His battle robe fluttered without any wind, and a cold, icy flame surged out of his eyes. "Shi Gu, don't think that I don't dare to kill you. Next time, think before you speak. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I can control my hand." Feng Wuxia was furious as he coldly scolded. "Is that so? If you have the guts, let's go out of the city and fight one-on-one. If my brick doesn't flatten your face, I'll take a detour when I see you in the future." Shi Gu arrogantly shouted. Good. You have the guts. Today, I'll show you what the Feng family's secret technique is. I'll show you what the top 10 young experts of Xiaolong region are." Feng Wuxia was flustered and exasperated. They had been fighting since they were young, and there was no clear winner between them. Today, he must vent his anger. Go. That's exactly what I want. As long as you don't cry after being beaten by me like you did when you were 6 years old, I'll be happy." Shi Gu loudly mocked. F***CKU. You be **Tch, how dare you mention it? Shameless. If you didn't ask your big brother, that bastard, to plot against me, do you think you can defeat me? Feng Wuxia went berserk and almost flipped the room. Originally, it was a matter between the parrot and Wang Chongxing, but it suddenly became a matter between Shi Gu and Feng Wuxia. The scene became a little strange. Yi Lingyu's lips curled into a mocking smile, but he didn't interrupt. Instead, he quietly picked up food for Yi Jianma, as if it had nothing to do with him. Yi Jianma acted as if it had nothing to do with her. She ate the delicious food desperately like a glutton. The two experts were quarreling, but she was reluctant to put down her chopsticks and look up. Kuang Batian, Wang Chongxing, and the others were angry. They stared coldly at Yi Qinghan and the parrot. Once they left the city and Shi Ge and Yi Qinghan fought, they were ready to take the opportunity to kill Yi Qinghan as well. However, several of Shi Ji's friends stood on Yi Qinghan's side and looked at him disdainfully. Obviously, they would not sit back and watch. Since you want to fight, let's go out together. Today, I'll let Brother Yi know whose friends are the real bad friends. Shi Ge was disdainful. He lifted his foot and kicked the door open heroically. He was holding a brick in his hand, but he looked like a hooligan. Yi Qinghan sneered. Today, he might be able to take advantage of the chaos to kill these three guys. Shameless be asterisk cheese. Today, I, the divine bird, will show you the power of a divine beast. The parrot was valiant and high-spirited. It stood proudly on Yi Qinghan's shoulder like an ever-victorious general, looking at Kuang Batian and the others with disdain. They were all invincible experts. Even if they were not crowned kings, they were close. Under normal circumstances, who would dare to mock them like this? Today, they were being scolded by a bird. None of them could stand it. Therefore, a group of people took out their weapons and rushed out of Tianshui City. Fighting was not allowed in the city. The aftermath of a Life Palace experts' fight was enough to destroy some buildings and implicate the innocent. This was a taboo. Whoever dared to violate this taboo would be taken down by the enforcers in the city, regardless of whether they were crowned kings or from wealthy families. Not only would they be beaten up, but their families would also have to pay hundreds of thousands of spiritual crystals as ransom. Feng Wuxia and Shi Ge took the lead and rushed out of Yeyang Restaurant. It was obvious that they were going to fight. Immediately, they attracted the attention of the crowd, who followed them out. One told 10, and 10 told 100. The two's friends also rushed out of Tianshui City. It was obvious that they wanted to join in the fight as well. This was the time to show the benefits of having more friends. Feng Wuxia's side had at least a few hundred people, while Shi Ji's side had less than 100. However, they were united and courageous enough. They were not afraid at all. They glared at each other, ready to fight at any moment. Outside the city there was a sea of people. It had been many years since the last time young talents gathered together for a fight. Moreover, this time 2 super talents were leading the fight. Even the young talents from other cities were rushing over. The cloud-piercing boats danced in the sky. Accidents on the boats kept happening. From time to time there would be collisions. The cloud-piercing boats would explode like fireworks, dyeing the sky red. More and more people from both sides gathered. Soon, there were more than 1,000 people. The situation was getting out of control. Lu Ning frowned and looked at Yi Lingyu, hoping that he could intervene. Unfortunately, Yi Lingyu wanted to turn this fight upside down. How could he stop them? Ha ha ha, there isn't enough space. Let's go to the plains 300 miles away to fight. Life or death, the one who escapes is a bastard. The one who loses will have to respectfully greet the winner in the future. Shi Ge laughed wildly. He did not care about the small number of people on his side. Are you two done messing around? If you really fight, people will definitely die. Do you want to cause chaos on Owl Dragon Planet? Lu Ning reminded in a low voice. Women should not interfere in men's business. This is a private matter between us. It has nothing to do with the family. Shi Ge said coldly. That's right. We can't just let today's matter go like this. Since we've already come out, I won't be able to eat or sleep in peace if we don't decide a winner. Feng Wuxia was so angry that he was dizzy. If he gave in now, he would have to lower his aura when they met in the future. Making him compromise with Shi Ge was harder than ascending to the heavens. Everyone's blood was boiling. They couldn't wait to fight. Both sides didn't like each other for a day or two. Shi Ge and Feng Wuxia took the lead and rushed forward to find a bigger battlefield. Quang Batian, Wang Chongxing, and the others stared at Yi Qinghan. At the same time, Yi Qinghan was also staring at them. Armor transformation. Merge. Swish. The god-slaying eagle and Yi Qinghan merged into one. Their aura was monstrous. The demon dragon saber's baleful aura spread out. It was as if it had swallowed countless lives. It was eerie and terrifying. Chapter 168. War. The wings spread out, filling the sky with murderous intent. A terrifying aura spread out for 100 miles, and a demonic blade could steal people's souls. Everyone was aggressive. A battle between high-level cultivators had been turned into a brawl between hooligans by Shirgu. A group of so-called geniuses were shouting and cursing at each other. CKU, I've been pissed at you for a long time. Today I'll beat your face up. CK, that's what I wanted to say to you. Just you wait, when Brother Shirgu says we'll fight, you'll be the first one I'll fight. Don't run if you have the guts. I'm your grandson if I run. Yi Qinghan's forehead was filled with black lines. Were all fights between the younger generation like this? Feng Wuxia, I'll flatten your face today so you can show off all day. CK. What's the use of talking so much? I'll have a good fight with you today. Shirgu took the lead and shouted, looking like a hooligan. Feng Wuxia did not have the temperament of a rich young master and cursed. Boundless heaven and earth, invincible brick. Divine martial covers the sky, suppress all enemies. Hua. The golden brick's majesty was monstrous. It kept growing bigger and bigger, and the patterns of the great Tao filled the sky. It covered the sky and the sun as it smashed towards the opponent. Boom, boom, boom. The brick actually triggered the roar of the great Tao. Tens of thousands of laws gathered, and the pressure made everyone's expression change. They felt as if their legs were filled with lead. It was already good enough that they could move, let alone fly. Suppress. Shirgu shouted and used all his strength. The brick collapsed like the sky, pressing down on hundreds of people until they could not breathe. They half knelt on the ground and resisted with all their might. If they could not resist, they would definitely be crushed into dust. Crack. The ground shattered, and blood and bones flew everywhere. Everyone screamed and tried to hack at the brick, but the huge brick was like a 6th-grade divine weapon. Not only was it not pushed back, but it was also as if it had suffered a heavy blow and was sent flying while coughing up blood. Feng Wuxia was furious. He did not expect Shirgu to attack without warning. Not only did he attack him, but he also attacked those with weaker cultivations. Wind clouds fly. Wind profound, heed my command. Wind blade appear. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, violent gales erupted, and the wind was cold and sharp. It shattered the void and enveloped all the experts on Shirji's side. The wind blades were extremely sharp, comparable to a top-notch 4th-grade spirit weapon. They were indestructible and instantly shattered everyone's defenses. Holy shit! The people on Shirji's side were driven mad. Their clothes were torn, and the bloody wounds were so deep that their bones could be seen. Everyone frantically tried to block, but how could they block all of the wind blades? CK your ancestors. Shirgu was furious. He formed a seal with both of his palms, and the huge golden brick formed a huge defensive barrier. The golden light was dazzling, and the laws intertwined, instantly blocking the wind blades dozens of meters away. One attacking and one defending, it was deafening. Break! The wind Upanishad congregated into a wind dragon, crazily dashing forward. Suppress! The tens of thousands of bricks merged into one and transformed into a heavenly wind dragon. Its aura was monstrous, and it almost cracked the earth. The Owl Dragon star was a famous star in the Owl Dragon region. Its great Tao was firm and stable, and it was even more tyrannical than the Owl War star. Even great martial revered experts could not shatter it in a short time. Now, cracks had appeared, and it showed how terrifying the aftermath of the two's attacks were. These two people were worthy of being in the top 10 of the entire Owl Dragon region. Together with their foundation, they did not lose to any ordinary Tao Master expert. They attacked each other, and their fighting power was crazy. In order not to hurt each other, they kept fleeing into the void. When the people below saw that the two people had left, they immediately unleashed their aura. They looked at each other as if they had seen their father's murderer. They raised their weapons and rushed forward. Sword chi and saber radiance danced wildly, shattering the void. Blood splattered everywhere, and instantly dyed the earth red. The heroes danced wildly, and no one cared about anything else. They attacked each other as they were very familiar with each other. They had been fighting for more than 10 years, and they could not wait to kill each other. This was a good opportunity. There were sneak attackers and overbearing attackers. Anyway, the winner was the king, and the loser was the bandit. They were still shouting with blood spurting out of their mouth. It was extremely cruel. More than 10 people surrounded one person. Everyone's fighting power was about the same, so how could they withstand such an attack? Immediately, the ground was dyed red with blood. They fell to the ground with heavy injuries and lost their fighting power. They screamed miserably, but the crowd did not kill them all. They turned around and rushed to the other person. Some body refiners felt that swords and sabers were a hindrance, so they rushed up with their bare hands. 3 to 5 people surrounded one person, punching and kicking. Some people's noses were broken, and they screamed miserably. Lu Ning was speechless. Was this really a battle between powerful Fate Palace experts? What was the difference between this and a fight between mortals? There were very few people on Shiji's side, and they suffered a great loss. However, they were ferocious and almost fought with their lives on the line. Although everyone was injured, at least both sides suffered. Yi Qinghan's eyes shot out icy flames, and his azure dragon arm wrapped around the devil dragon saber. Seeing Kuang Batian, Wang Chongxing, and the other 3 staring at him, he could not help but grin, revealing a row of sinister teeth. Swoosh! The devil dragon saber flashed with a cold light, and a strong aura spread out. Yi Qinghan turned into a sharp sword and rushed into the crowd like a ferocious tiger. He did not show any mercy. Yi Qinghan raised his hand and slashed down, causing blood to splatter everywhere. At close range, Yi Qinghan's attack was unparalleled. The demon dragon saber absorbed all of the enemy's vitality upon contact, and the sharp Zhen Yuan stirred up their vitality, instantly suppressing a person. Those who block me will die. Get lost. Yi Qinghan's target was very clear: Wang Chongxing, and Kuang Batian, who were at the back. They were the most hostile to him, and there was a blood feud between them. As for Kuang Batian, he was courting death by making an enemy out of him. Yi Qinghan was like a meat grinder on the battlefield, and his huge wings swept everyone away. His murderous aura caused everyone's Tao hearts to become restless, and their guts to be torn apart. Whoosh! Whoosh! Damn! Who is this? He's only at the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm, and he's participating in a group fight between Fate Palace realm masters. How ferocious! Damn, this is spectacular. Should we go and help? They're outnumbered, and they're not at a disadvantage. This makes my blood boil. The crowd shouted excitedly, and some of them felt their blood boiling. They wanted to rush into the battlefield and fight for 300 rounds. Blood rain was falling from the sky, as if the sky was red to begin with. Corpses kept falling from the sky. Even if they were not killed, they would fall to their death. Even if they were not killed, they would be crippled. Yi Qinghan finally got close to the 4 people. Although he could not use the extreme dragon god steps, he could use Soul Snatch. This move had never been seen before, and the only one who knew about it was Xian Wuyu. Soul Snatch. An ear-piercing and soul-stirring voice resounded through the void, shocking the hearts and souls of those who were miles away and causing them to freeze on the spot. Boom! Quang Batian was confident in his cultivation realm and his terrifying mortal body. He chose to face Yi Qinghan head-on. Unfortunately, he didn't realize that Yi Qinghan's arms were glowing with a golden light that was filled with the profound mysteries of the Great Tao. The power he released was enough to shake mountains, let alone a human body. Puff Quang Batian's entire arm was lacerated, and his true yuan surged into his body, almost shattering all his bones and tendons. Blood spurted out of his 7 orifices, and his 2-meter-tall body was sent flying into the distance like a broken kite. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, and even Feng Wuxia was shocked. He was caught off guard by Shi Ji's attack. Good. Brother Frivolous, torture this motley crew to death for me. Kill. If anyone dies, it's on me. Shi Ji's blood was boiling, and he smashed the brick at Feng Wuxia. The great Tao shook, and even the mountains were flattened. The people on Shi Ji's side were excited. Yi Qinghan had taken the lead and charged into the enemy's group, disrupting their formation and weakening their morale. On the other hand, Shi Ji's side's morale was soaring and their blood was boiling. How could they not seize the opportunity? Counterattack! Kill these bastards! F***ck your mother! I've been waiting for this day for so long. I've been bullied by you guys for so many years. Today, I'll fight till the end. I'll make you kneel down and call me Grandpa. These words came out of the mouth of a group of experts, and it was a bit of a spoilsport. Hundreds of people were covered in blood, and they would crawl back up after falling to the ground. Brother Yi, it will be too late if you don't stop them now. Many have already died, and tomorrow, the planet will be in chaos. Lu Ning said anxiously. Stop them? Do you think I'm the supreme king of the younger generation? Yi Lingyu rolled his eyes, and he didn't care about the deaths of these people. Zhang Quan and Su Yong chased after Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's madness reached the heavens, and he was practically chasing after someone and beating them until they were crippled. His entire body was covered in wounds, but he didn't seem to care. Wang Chang's body was cracked, and he was powerless to resist. Die! Yi Qinghan roared, and he turned into a ferocious saber and slashed at Wang Chongqing. No! Wang Chongqing screamed in fear, and he raised his sword to block the demon dragon saber. Kacha, the 4th-grade spiritual sword shattered, and Wang Chongqing was severely injured. He coughed out blood, and his divine sense was in chaos. Let's see if your skin is thick enough to defend against my divine fire. Hua! The parrot charged out from Yi Qinghan's shoulder and spat out a mouthful of fire that engulfed Wang Chongqing. The fire it spat out had already surpassed the limits of ordinary fire, and it instantly ignited Wang Chongqing's vigorous essence blood and spread throughout his body. Wang Chongqing let out a shrill scream, and the fire on his body could not be extinguished no matter how hard he tried. Soon, even his flesh was burning, causing one's hair to stand on end. The parrot no longer looked like a pet. Shameless slut, this divine bird grandpa will purify you. The parrot had succeeded in its attack, and it took the chance to spit out another mouthful of fire, burning Wang Chongqing into a pile of ash that scattered with the wind. Good. Good kill. This group of powerful elites didn't care at all. If they were enemies, then so be it. This was especially true for people like Wang Chongqing. They believed that they were superior because they had participated in the battle on Owl War Planet, and they had truly angered many people. When Yi Qinghan saw that Wang Chongqing was dead, he suddenly turned and glared at Su Yong and Zhang Quan. His terrifying eyes were like the endless underworld, suffused with the cycle of reincarnation and a killing intent so thick that it was tangible. Su Yong and Zhang Quan felt as if their blood had stopped flowing. They felt as if they were being stared at by a martial supremacy. Their muscles tensed up and stiffened. They didn't even have the courage to run away, let alone kill Yi Qinghan. Chapter 169. Thump, thump, thump. Yi Qinghan's eyes made Su Yong and Zhang Quan's Taoist hearts restless, as if they would collapse at any time. No matter who won or lost today's battle, they would never step into the realm of Tao Master. That is, unless Yi Qinghan died at their hands. Ha ha ha, so what if I scold you for being shameless? Do you think I'm easy to bully? My master is not easy to bully. Come and beat me if you dare. The parrot stood on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and laughed loudly. In the name of my saber, I'll send you to hell. Yi Qinghan's voice was hoarse, as if he was a monster from the depths of hell. No one dared to resist. Brother Qingquang, no. I apologize to you. I apologize to you on behalf of them. I've lost today's battle. Feng Wuxia was shocked and no longer cared about his reputation. If they continued to fight, Yi Qinghan would kill them all. No, this battle has nothing to do with you or me. It's a battle between me and them. I'll kill anyone who wants to kill me. Today, anyone can live, but these two won't. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Kill them. They're just two good-for-nothings. Since you've joined the battle, you should be prepared to die. Shi Ge held the brick and blocked Feng Wuxia's path. The two of them were evenly matched and neither could do anything to the other. Feng Wuxia, do you think our battle is a game? This battle was started by your people, so let their deaths be the end. Without the realm of Tao Master, Feng Wuxia was stopped by Shi Ge. Yi Lingyu stood aside and watched the show. Lu Ning's realm was still sealed. No one could stop Yi Qinghan's madness. Hundreds of families in Owl Dragon's Star were witnessing the same scene. Spies were rushing madly to the cultivation place of the family leaders or the sect leaders' peak. This is bad. Eldest young master is fighting with Feng Wuxia and Shi Ji's people. There are countless casualties. This is bad. Eldest senior brother is fighting with Shi Ge and Feng Wuxia's people. There are many casualties. All the big disciples of the younger generation of the clans and sects above the 4th rank participated in the war, which affected the entire Xiaolong region. At the same time, one or even several Tao masters rushed out from all the big clans and sects on the Owl Dragon Star. The power of heaven and earth was forcefully sucked away. Hundreds of miles away from the heavenly water city, the power that was strong enough to break the bones of Fate Palace warriors fell from the sky. Shi Ge and Feng Wuxia had to retreat to the ground. They looked at the numerous Tao masters coming at them with grim faces. Yi Qinghan didn't care that much. Taking advantage of Su Yong and Zhang Quan's momentary lapse in concentration, he swiped his saber horizontally. Blood splattered everywhere, and the two heads fell to the ground along with the corpses. You're courting death. Boom, boom, boom. The chief elder of the Su family struck out with his palm. Hundreds of Fate Palace warriors were sent flying while coughing up blood. The giant hand covered Yi Qinghan, suppressing the laws around him. Yi Qinghan's hair stood on end and he retreated frantically. However, he couldn't fight against a Tao master. Without using the Dragon God steps, he couldn't move fast enough. Seeing that the giant hand was about to crush him, Yi Qinghan had to gather all the strength in his body and use Soul Snatch to slash at his opponent. Ignorant Junior, die. The giant hand grabbed the Devil Dragon saber and the evil chi entered his body. The chief elder of the Su family was shocked. He punched at Yi Qinghan's body. His robe fluttered in the wind. Yi Qinghan's facial muscles became ferocious. His chi and blood were blocked. He spat out a mouthful of essence blood and the Devil Dragon saber fell out of his hand. His body flew backward like a kite with a broken string. The gap between their realms was too big. A Tao master could kill hundreds of Fate Palace warriors in a second. They were not at the same level. Moreover, Yi Qinghan was only at the Grotto Heaven realm. The force of heaven and the Dharma in the surroundings were sucked dry. Spiritual qi couldn't be mobilized. A Tao master could kill Yi Qinghan with a crushing blow. Yi Qinghan felt cold and his pupils contracted. It was impossible for him to use the Dragon God steps now. I can't die. Break. Yi Qinghan was unwilling to give up. He struggled madly to avoid the fatal blow. Unfortunately, the space around him was confined by a Tao master. Damn it! I haven't become the divine emperor of all beasts yet. I can't die. The parrot screamed and roared in horror. How dare you! Shirgu threw out the golden brick. It emitted a golden light and broke through the force of heaven and smashed toward the chief elder of the Su family. Boom! The golden brick and the chief elder's genuine vitality collided. The sky roared and the earth trembled. The space was torn apart. The brick was smashed away, but Shirji's soul was also severely injured. He coughed up blood and fainted. He fell heavily on the ground and dust filled the air. The chief elder of the Su family's fist exploded, as if he had hit a soldering iron. He screamed and retreated. He looked at Yi Qinghan with a ferocious face. The golden brick flew back into Shirji's sea of consciousness automatically. It hovered in the air and helped Shirgu to repair his divine sense. Yi Qinghan fell to the ground. He held Shirgu and rushed back, away from the Tao master who was rushing toward them. Old man Su, how dare you hurt a descendant of the Shi family? I'll kill you! Shirji's father was furious. Seeing his son injured, he picked up his hammer and rushed toward the chief elder of the Su family. Boom, boom, boom! Shirji's father's hammer was not an ordinary weapon. It was activated by genuine vitality, and the law attached to it turned into lightning. It tore apart the sky and smashed toward the chief elder of the Su family. The chief elder of the Su family had goosebumps. He had to pull out his sword and stab at the hammer. The sound of the collision was deafening. The weaker Fate Palace realm warriors coughed up blood and knelt down. The warriors who were watching the show ran away. They did not dare to watch the show anymore. The chief elder of the Su family, Su Xingtian's fist, was already in great pain from the impact of the golden brick. After being hit by the hammer, golden blood spurted out. His skin was torn and his flesh was torn. He retreated hundreds of meters before he could stabilize himself. He could not help but roar, "I want to kill that bastard, not your son. Your son attacked me first. Shi Fenghai, do you want to start a war with the Su family on behalf of the Shi family? Let's start a war then. Do you think I'm afraid of you? You shameless guy. A peak Tao master attacked my son. Even if we report this to the chief, the Shi family will not be afraid." Shi Fenghai was furious and his hammer was even more violent. "Are you blind? Did I attack your son? He hit me with the brick first." Su Xingtian was trembling with anger. The golden bones in his right hand were exposed. He pointed at Shi Fenghai and roared, "Anyway, I don't care. You hurt my son. You have to give me an explanation." Shi Haifeng did not let go of this point. He was tit for tat. Su Xingtian. Then, hundreds of Tao masters gathered. There were beginner, intermediate, and peak Tao masters. However, no Grand Marshal Venerable showed up. The younger generation was miserable. Almost everyone had more than 10 wounds on their bodies. At least 100 young warriors died tragically and no less than 300 were seriously injured. This was a heavy blow to Xiao Longxing, who started the war. "Get out here." Seeing Zhang Quan's dismembered body, the head of the Zhang family was furious. He glared at Yi Qinghan, wanting nothing more than to tear him to pieces and grind his bones to dust. The parrot hid on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and did not dare to be arrogant. It muttered, "Master, let's run away. He's too strong. We're no match for him." Yi Qinghan was indifferent. He was bathed in blood. Shiji's face was as white as paper. His divine sense had been severely injured. The golden brick, controlled by his divine sense, could not fight against a peak Tao master. Shirgu had risked his life to save him. A warm current flowed through his heart. Feng Wuxie, my son came with you. He was fighting for you, but he died in the hands of this beast. If you don't kill him today, I'll see how you face Zhang Quan and the others. How can you still have the face to call your friends? Zhang Haitao, the master of the Zhang family, said coldly and angrily as he pointed at Yi Qinghan. Feng Wuxie's eyes were burning with anger. He was not the one who had caused this incident. It was Zhang Quan and Wang Chongxing who had shamelessly brought up the incident from back then to show off. They had no sense of shame at all and were scolded by Shirgu. The parrot had only interjected a few words, and that was why the battle had started. If one were to talk about the culprits, it was the three of them. Clan head Zhang, it's best if you clearly investigate before you speak. Today, it was I who stood up for the three of them that caused this battle. If not for your son, Zhang Quan, Wang Chongxing, and Quang Batian, would I have fought with Shirgu to this extent? It's fine if you don't thank me, but how can you accuse me of not being worthy of being their brother in front of so many people? How can I endure this? Feng Wuxie asked coldly as he clenched his fist. Zhang Haitao's breath froze. He did not expect that it was his son who started the war. We want to know the reason. Also, hand over the murderers. We can't let this go. Some people were furious at the tragic death of their family's geniuses. They gathered around, and most of their eyes were fixed on Yi Qinghan. Shirgu frowned. The tearing pain in his soul made his body twitch and his face contort. Yi Qinghan slapped 3 major acupuncture points in his sea of consciousness, causing him to fall into a deep sleep. Afterward, a powerful martial sovereign's soul poured into his sea of consciousness to help repair his soul. Shi Haifeng raised an eyebrow. He had also seen that Shirgu had fought with Su Xingtian for Yi Qinghan's sake, and Yi Qinghan had not disappointed him in the end. The moment he escaped, he had taken Shirgu away. Now that Yi Qinghan had saved Shirgu, he did not object. Wuxie, you and Shirgu have been fighting since childhood, but this has not affected the relationship between our two clans. Today, tell us the truth. Just what was the reason for this war? If it was caused by my son, then I have nothing to say and will naturally give everyone an explanation. But if it wasn't, then Su Xingtian, you must give me an explanation today. Shi Haifeng coldly said. Yi Lingyu and fellow Taoist Lu Ning are the clearest about this matter. I am the one involved, so I can't say anything. However, you should believe their words. Feng Wuxie coldly said. Everyone immediately looked at Lu Ning and Yi Lingyu. They found that only they and Yi Jianmao were not injured. They immediately frowned. Your Highness Lu Ning, Yi Lingyu, please tell us the reason and process of today's war. This old man hopes that you will not be biased. We want fairness. We don't want the dead to be wronged. Zhang Haitao asked in a deep voice. Yi Lingyu was still on Yi Qinghan's side. Even if he wanted to win against Yi Qinghan, it was a matter between him and Yi Qinghan. Looking at Zhang Haitao's aggressive appearance, he could not help but curl his lips and said, I'm afraid the truth of this matter will disappoint you. Chapter 170. Yi Lingyu mocked and looked at Zhang Haitao, not giving him any face. Zhang Haitao's face sank. He found that Lu Ning also had the same expression and his mood immediately turned bad. Wang Chong, Zhang Quan, and the others discussed the matter of Owl Warstar and insulted Yi Qinghan. Shirgu couldn't stand by and watch, so he scolded them. Soon after, this fellow Taoist's pet interjected. In the end, your good son didn't find the right person, insisting that the parrot and this fellow Taoist were bullying him, so he began to shout at the parrot and the parrot. This led to a great battle between Shi Gu and Feng Wuxie over their brothers. Yi Lingyu's words were concise and to the point. He then turned to look at Lu Ning and asked calmly, "Your Highness Lu Ning, is what I said fair?" Lu Ning coldly said, "It's fair. That's what happened. The fault lies with Wang Chong, Su Yong, Zhang Quan, and Quang Batian. The four of them believed themselves to be infallible and deserved to die. Unfortunately, they implicated so many others." The faces of the Wang clan, Su clan, and Zhang clan, as well as Quang Batian's master, were green and purple. They were so disgusted that they wanted to vomit. However, Yi Lingyu and Lu Ning stood in the middle and didn't favor anyone. No one doubted their words. At this moment, the happiest person was Shi Haifeng. Yi Lingyu and Lu Ning had testified for Shi Guo, and now, he had an excuse to cause trouble for Su Xingtian. "Su Xingtian, you old man, did you hear that? This is your Su Yong's fault. You beat my son, you must give me an explanation today." Su Xingtian was burning with anger. His family's genius had been killed and now he had to give an explanation. "Ha ha ha, Shi Haifeng, do you think that the Shi clan can cover the sky with one hand? You don't seem to understand the right and wrong of today's matter. Wang Chong Sheng and Su Yong were talking about Owl War Star, but they didn't want to talk about it, right? Also, even if they scolded Yi Qinghan, what did it have to do with Shi Guo and this evil beast? They were the ones who scolded Wang Chongsheng and the others first. The ones in the wrong should be Shi Guo and this beast. The beast didn't understand, but its master should understand, right? Instead of apologizing, its master had killed Wang Chongsheng and the others. This person should be the one at fault. Am I right? Su Xingtian was a wily old fox. With just a few words, he pushed all the blame onto Yi Qinghan. That's right. It should be this bastard's fault. Shi Guo has made a small mistake, but he is now heavily injured. He has atoned for his sins, but this little bastard's life must be buried with the dead child. All the clans and sects that had lost geniuses blamed Yi Qinghan one after another. They wanted nothing more than to grind Yi Qinghan's bones to dust. Shi Guo had the support of the Shi family, so no one wanted to be on bad terms with the Shi family. However, Yi Qinghan was different. He was a character who had suddenly appeared. If they killed him, it would be equivalent to settling this matter. In order to give an explanation to the dead, the experts of the older generation did not want to involve the realm of Dao Master. Therefore, no one was willing to speak up for Yi Qinghan. However, Shi Haifeng was not happy. His son was heavily injured by Su Xingtian. He did not get any benefits, but he still had to share part of the responsibility. Damn it, Su Xingtian, you are too shameless. You are getting more and more shameless. Did you injure my son? You did not compensate or apologize, but pushed part of the responsibility onto my son. Do you think I, Shi Haifeng, am easy to bully? Your son attacked me first. Su Xingtian roared angrily. He was on the verge of going berserk. I did not see it. I only saw you, a peak Dao master, attack my son. Shi Haifeng's aura was even stronger, and his voice was even louder. Everyone was speechless. They all felt wronged for Su Xingtian. His family had lost a genius, and now he had a bad reputation of attacking the younger generation. At this moment, Yi Lingyu also realized that Yi Qinghan must be the scapegoat. These old guys would not let him go. However, he still hoped to fight head-on and suppress Yi Qinghan to prove his Taoist heart. How could he allow Yi Qinghan to die in the hands of these old foxes? Yi Qinghan, find a chance to escape. I will block for you for 10 breath. Whether you can escape depends on your luck. If you can escape, I will give you 3 months to go to Standstar. We will fight there. Yi Lingyu transmitted his voice coldly. 10 breath. Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. Not to mention 10 breaths, even 30 minutes would be useless. How could a Tao master escape in front of hundreds of Tao masters? What's more, Yi Lingyu could not block for 10 breaths. No need. You should protect yourself. Whether I can survive today depends on my luck. Yi Qinghan coldly refused Yi Lingyu's proposal. Today was a desperate situation. The Shi family could not go against all the rich and powerful families of Owl Dragon's Star for him. Feng Wuxie frowned. Looking at Yi Qinghan's calm face, he gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, "This has nothing to do with Brother Yi. It is between us. Quang Batian and the others wanted to kill Brother Yi, but they were killed instead. It can only be said that they were not skilled enough. Moreover, the others were not killed by Brother Yi. You can't put all the blame on him alone, right? Feng Wuxie, are you a friend of Zhang Quan and the others? Most of the people who died participated in this war because of you. You don't speak for them, but speak for the murderer. You are ridiculous." Su Xingtian scolded angrily. "I am telling the truth. I know who is right and who is wrong. At least I will not speak against my conscience." What's more, if it were not for Su Yong and the others, would I quarrel with Shi Ge like this? They would not have died in battle. Feng Wuxie shouted angrily. Su Xingtian was speechless. The reason we can fight today is because of the brotherhood in our hearts. Although I know that Su Yong and the others were wrong, I still stood up for them without hesitation. If I really did not care about them, would I be crazy? Would I do such a thankless thing? Today, my brothers died in battle. Do you think I am comfortable? This is a battlefield where there is no winner or loser. What we are fighting for is our pride. I can't push the blame to an unrelated person just because one of my brothers died. Perhaps you can turn a blind eye, but I can't. Feng Wuxie was imposing. After all, he was one of the top 10 existences in Owl Dragon's Star region. His bearing alone was enough to win everyone's approval. Then you mean that this Yi guy killed Su Yong, Wang Chongxing, Zhang Quan, and the others for nothing? Zhang Haitao asked coldly. Feng Wuxie was silent. No matter how he answered this question, he would be wrong. If he killed for nothing, it would chill the hearts of his brothers. If he did not kill for nothing, then he would kill Yi Qinghan. Then you mean that if your people want to kill me, I have to stand here and wait for them to kill me? Yi Qinghan asked disdainfully. You bastard, how dare you talk back? I asked you to stop, but you killed them in front of me. You are simply courting death. If I don't kill you today, how can I face the world? Su Xingtian was furious. He reached out to kill Yi Qinghan. Shi Ge was still in Yi Qinghan's hands. How could Shi Haifeng let him do it? He rushed to the middle, and was about to swing his sledgehammer. Su Xingtian, if you want to take revenge, that's your business. But you have to give me an explanation first. What do you want to say about hurting my son? Shi Haifeng asked coldly. Su Xingtian. F***ck, you can't reason with unreasonable people. Shi Haifeng was not reasonable at all. He did not want to say anything at all. He just wanted to grasp the fact that Shi Ge was injured by Su Xingtian. What do you want? What explanation do you want? Su Xingtian was furious and asked coldly. I don't want anything. My son is only at the peak of the Fate Palace realm. He was seriously injured by a peak Tao master. If his Tao heart is affected in the future, how can he enter the immortal realm? I was counting on him to lead the Shi family to glory. Now that my hope is gone, what do you think I want? Shi Haifeng said coldly. F***ck, do you have any shame? There are at least 8, if not 10, people like Shi Ge, who are even more terrifyingly talented than him. Have you ever seen anyone break through to the immortal gate realm? Do you want me to compensate you with an expert of the immortal realm? Su Xingtian was about to go crazy. If Shi Haifeng continued to pester him endlessly, he would definitely detonate the bomb. Today I have hit you too hard. I don't want to be entangled with you anymore. I will compensate you with 1,000,000 medium-grade spiritual herbs. Su Xingtian threw out a universe ring and said coldly. At the peak of the sky, beyond the clouds, a man in black was facing the strong wind of the universe and looking down at the owl-dragon star. His face was full of disdain. The word "kill" on his shoulder was soul-stirring. The soul devourer Tachi on his back was emitting a murderous aura that shook the heavens. Feng Sha. No one expected him to be here watching the show. He wanted to test Yi Qinghan's combat power. He did not expect this group of old men to come and mess up his plan. Human nature is so sad. Feng Sha took a step and landed on a mountain peak. He stood proudly in the wind. His clothes fluttered like a lonely blade, silent. Yi Qinghan did not realize that Feng Sha was not too far away. At this moment, he was in despair. The extreme Dao Divine Dragon Step was the fastest in the world, but it could not be faster than a Dao Sovereign. The cloud-piercing ship could not be faster than a Dao Sovereign in a short period of time. No matter what he did, there was no chance. He clenched his fist and smiled bitterly. I did not expect to die here today. Divine Bird, if you have the chance, leave here and return to the Owl Dragon Star. Tell them not to wait for me. Train Emperor Yi well. He will not come out until he reaches the Celestial Gate. Once he comes out, help me kill those bastards from the Owl Dragon region. Master, are you giving up? I can't bear to leave you. The parrot was sad. After all these years, he still had feelings. There is no chance. I can't escape. Yi Qinghan shook his head. People who had died once were indifferent to life and death. As expected, Shi Haifeng took the universe ring. He did not want to make things difficult for Su Xingtian. He turned around and wanted to take Shirgu away. Shirgu was still unconscious. Yi Qinghan smiled and handed Shirgu to Shi Haifeng. I am sorry. Even if I want to protect you, I can't. Little brother, you are on your own. Shi Haifeng took Shirgu and said helplessly. No worries. Life and death in the universe is up to fate. Yi Qinghan said lightly. Shi Haifeng smiled bitterly and flew out of the crowd with Shirgu. Chapter 171. Yi Lingyu frowned. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to give up on escaping. This was not his character at all. In fact, Yi Lingyu was thinking from the wrong perspective. With his cultivation at the peak of the Fate Palace realm and his own foundation, he might have a chance to escape. On the other hand, Yi Qinghan was only at the fourth step of the Grotto Heaven realm and his foundation was the Extreme Dragon Step. Once he used it, he might not be able to escape. Once that happened, he would definitely be recognized. By then, the great revered martial artist would be alerted. How could Yi Lingyu expect him to escape from a great revered martial artist? Brother, he won't be able to escape. Should we intervene? Yi Jianma raised her head and a pure light shot out from her eyes. A crisp voice exploded in Yi Lingyu's mind. Yi Lingyu was shocked. What Yi Jianma said was a foregone conclusion. Even if he intervened, Yi Qinghan would not be able to escape. Moreover, Yi Jianma might be implicated. Yi Lingyu shook his head, indicating that he had given up. Yi Qinghan revealed a faint smile and said to Feng Wuxia, Brother Feng, thank you for speaking up for me. I don't have anything to repay you, so I'll give this spiritual pet to you. A ray of golden light flew out from Yi Qinghan's forehead and the great path law descended. The contract between Yi Qinghan and the parrot was immediately broken. Master, I am also unyielding. I will not escape. If you die, it will be meaningless for me to live alone. The parrot did not want to leave. Its little claws grabbed Yi Qinghan's clothes and it lay on his shoulder motionlessly. Yi Qinghan smiled. He did not expect the parrot to say such a thing. Your words are enough. Go. Remember that I still have a task for you. Do you want me to die unwillingly? Humph, half of the reason for the internal strife on Owl Dragon Planet is this evil creature. Don't expect it to survive. Since it is loyal to you, I will fulfill its wish. Su Shengtian said coldly. You're an idiot. Shameless bastard, you're only showing off because of your cultivation. If we were at the same level, my master would be able to kill you with just a fart. Bitch, your whole family are bitches. Even if the human race goes extinct, your whole family won't be able to rise. The parrot's eyes flashed with the will to die. It was not afraid anymore. It shook its fat body and scolded Su Shengtian. Su Shengtian's face turned purple and his whole body trembled. He didn't want to waste any more time. He waved his big hand and smashed it towards Yi Qinghan. The space was squeezed out of shape. Yi Qinghan's entire body was distorted. Even his azure dragon arm had been shattered. His flesh and blood splattered everywhere as his golden bones cracked. He couldn't even put up a simple counterattack. That was the difference between a Tao master and a Fate Palace warrior. He could kill a Fate Palace warrior at close range with the help of his physical body, but he could do nothing to a Tao master. Crack Su Shengtian's bones, which were far more powerful than a fourth-rank spirit weapon, shattered. Su Shengtian's aura swept across the heavens and the earth, intimidating the heavens and the earth. The giant hand that covered the sky contained the profound meaning of the great Tao. It descended from the sky and crushed Yi Qinghan's leg bones, forcing him to kneel on the ground. Boom! The demon dragon saber was stabbed into the ground, causing dust to fly. Yi Qinghan held the saber's hilt tightly. He would rather die than kneel. He stood firm and let his bones break. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and his sea of consciousness was spinning rapidly. Go to hell! Su Shengtian's face was full of sarcasm. He didn't care about Yi Qinghan's unyielding attitude. His giant hand broke the heavens and in the blink of an eye, it was above Yi Qinghan's head. All the Tao masters were watching the show. No one wanted to intervene. Some of them even wanted to crush Yi Qinghan personally. Lu Ning frowned. The more she looked at Yi Qinghan, the more familiar he looked. The blood in her body was roaring, and she wanted to reopen the seal. Just as Yi Qinghan was about to be crushed, a dragon's roar resounded through the sky. A gloomy and cold light shone through the 9 heavens. Evil qi filled the area within 1,000 miles of Tianshui City. The terrifying aura made hundreds of Tao masters' hair stand on end, and they all stepped back. Plop! Thousands of young experts knelt down in fear. Feng Wuxie and Yi Lingyu's faces suddenly changed. They followed the Tao masters and stepped back. Whoosh! A cold light streaked across Yi Qinghan's shoulder, directly shattering Su Shengtian's sky-covering giant hand. The long saber full of murderous intent didn't diminish in the slightest. It pierced through the void and directly penetrated Su Shengtian's body. Puff! Su Shengtian screamed. His blood stained the sky. His body was driven by the long saber and directly stabbed into a mountain in the distance. The evil qi intertwined with Su Shengtian's body and instantly suppressed half of his vitality. Su Shengtian's body was nailed to the top of the mountain and he could not move. Everyone was horrified. They looked up at the young man in black who was slowly coming from behind. He was like a supreme murderous weapon without any emotion. He defeated a peak Tao master with one move. He was even more terrifying than an ordinary great martial venerable. Feng Sha took action. He stepped into the crowd and the word "kill" on his shoulder stunned everyone. It was as if he was going to kill his way out of the sky. Everyone was shocked in an instant. The murderous aura was too strong. The Tao masters swallowed their saliva and did not dare to say a word. Most of the young experts coughed up blood and fainted on the spot. A group of people knelt on the ground and did not dare to raise their heads. Feng Shao was like a supreme fierce beast coming out of an endless blood prison. Their Taoist hearts were shattered. Feng Wuxie and Yi Lingyu took Yi Jianma and stepped back crazily. Lu Ning broke the seal in an instant and returned to her peak state. She had become a half-step Dao master. Her will rushed through the sea of consciousness and found Yi Qinghan in an instant. Her pupils shrank. Great Martial Venerable! A peerless Great Martial Venerable! He was definitely not weaker than Yi Qinghan. Everyone was stunned. When did such a person appear in Xiaolong territory? The crazy murderous aura rushed to the sky and startled the great martial venerables on Xiaolong star. In the blink of an eye, at least a dozen terrifying auras of great martial venerables were awakened and rushed to the void. Several great martial venerables had reached the end of their lives and had not appeared in the world for a long time. However, they were awakened by Feng Sha's murderous aura. Who are you? Why did you attack the experts of Xiaolong Star? Lu Su, the master of the Lu family, arrived and looked at Feng Sha. He felt as if he was facing Yi Qinghan. His heart sank. You don't deserve to know. Maybe you can choose to survive 3 of my attacks and I'll tell you, Feng Sha said coldly. Lu Su's aura stagnated and his face darkened. A ray of murderous light shot out from his eyes. They were both great martial venerables. Even though Feng Sha was the king of great martial venerables, he could not humiliate his opponent like this. My friend, you are too arrogant. I can tell that you are not from Xiaolong territory by looking at your clothes. As the saying goes, a strong dragon cannot defeat a snake in its own territory. Aren't you afraid of being suppressed by Xiaolong territory? A terrifying aura shrouded the center of the battlefield. It contained an ancient aura as if it had been asleep for a long time. Feng Sha took another step forward and stood beside Yi Qinghan. He looked at Yi Qinghan and found that he was not seriously injured. He did not ask anything and raised his eyes to look at an old man who was approaching from afar. His skin was wrinkled like the bark of a 1,000-year-old tree. It was obvious that he was an expert who had reached the end of his life. So what if I am arrogant? You can bully others with your power, but I can bully you with my numbers. If you are not convinced, let's fight. Feng Sha waved his hand and pulled out the soul-devouring Tachi from the peak of the mountain and returned to his hand. Su Xingtian's corpse was like a dried corpse that had been dead for tens of thousands of years. Even his soul did not escape. His death was extremely horrifying. That's right. A bunch of idiot. You only know how to use your cultivation realm to bully others. So what if you have more people? The parrot finally caught its breath and did not care anymore. Anyway, it was a divine bird that had died once. Why would it be afraid of dying again? Yi Qinghan withdrew his aura and swallowed a spirit pill to quickly heal his injured body. He held a piece of upper-rank spirit crystal in his hand, and it was shrinking at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. With the upper-rank spirit crystal and a large amount of spirit medicine, Yi Qinghan quickly recovered to his peak state. He squinted his eyes and looked at the dozen martial revered experts who had appeared. Killing intent flashed across his eyes. Half of the experts here had participated in the Battle of Shao Zhanxing. This martial revered expert was called Xiahou Yuan. Back then, in order to break through his limit and enter the immortal sect, he was the one who killed the most ruthlessly. He only wanted Yi Qinghan to hand over the divine martial imperial codex. Lu Su and the others looked coldly at Yi Qinghan and Feng Sha. The messaging talisman in their hands quickly sent out messages. It was obvious that they were calling for their friends. Leave this place quickly. There will be more and more martial revered experts. Yi Qinghan reminded in a deep voice. You leave first. If I want to leave, even the region lord of Xiaolong region wouldn't dare to stop me. Feng Sha said disdainfully. Although I don't know who you are, I will definitely repay your kindness in the future. Yi Qinghan squinted his eyes and looked at the word kill on Feng Sha's shoulder. He knew that this was definitely a terrifying organization that had been passed down since the Desolate Era. He didn't know, but the region lord of the Immortal Sect should know. Feng Sha had no worries. Even if he was surrounded by 100 martial revered experts, he would still have a chance to escape. No need. It's just a coincidence. I don't care about Xiaolong region. You can leave. Feng Sha's face was filled with arrogance, as if he looked down on Xiaolong region. Everyone's expression turned ugly. It was fine if he looked down on Xiaolong region, but he didn't care about the entire Xiaolong region. Which super organization did he come from? Yi Qinghan had almost recovered. If he stayed now, he would only tie up the other party's hands and feet. He cupped his fists and said, I will repay your kindness in the future. I also hope that you can leave as soon as possible. There are some people in Xiaolong region who are colluding with each other. They don't care about their reputation. More than 100 martial revered experts often surround and attack one person. No matter how strong a person was, it was impossible to fight against 100 experts of the same level, let alone martial revered experts. When Yi Qinghan cultivated the divine martial imperial code, he was also forced to self-destruct. Warrior, thank you for saving my life. I know that Tianshui City has a treasure that is sealed in the forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion. It will be very helpful to your cultivation. Go and snatch it, the parrot said loudly. Lu Su was shocked. The City Lord's mansion was his Lu family's territory. There was indeed a treasure sealed in the forbidden area. Even he couldn't use it. How did the parrot know about it? Evil creature, you are courting death. Lu Su shouted angrily. His pressure rushed towards Yi Qinghan and the parrot. Unfortunately, Feng Sha snorted coldly and the pressure immediately dispersed. What treasure? Feng Sha looked at the parrot curiously. It seemed that he couldn't tell what species the parrot was. Blood evil essence. Its evil aura is much stronger than Xiaolong's. If you can get it, your battle power will definitely double. The parrot didn't hesitate to reveal the background of the Lu family's most valuable treasure. Chapter 172. Blood Demon Essence. Its murderous aura is much thicker than Owl War Stars. If you can get it, your battle power will double. The parrot did not hesitate to reveal the Lu family's most valuable treasure. Feng Sha's eyes lit up. Blood Demon Essence was a treasure. It was the crystallization of the murderous aura. It was definitely a divine treasure between the 6th and 5th grade. It was very beneficial to his murderous aura and murderous aura cultivation. It was no worse than swallowing a 6th grade divine pill. Really? Feng Sha stared at the parrot curiously. Such a treasure was obviously sealed. How did the parrot know? This divine bird is the 10,000 beasts' divine emperor. How can I lie? What's more, you saved my life. If you don't believe me, look at his stupid face. It's all green. How can it be fake? The parrot pointed at Lu Su, whose face was glowing green. Yi Qinghan smiled and cupped his fist. Trust it. If you can't find the blood demon essence when you get there, I'll compensate you with 2 in 100 years. Alright. You can go. Feng Sha's eyes finally showed some emotion. It seemed that he was very interested in the blood demon essence. Yi Qinghan looked at Lu Su's gloomy face and laughed coldly. He summoned his cloud-piercing boat and flew into the sky, escaping without a trace. Feng Sha blocked more than 10 martial honorables with his saber. Whoever dared to move would be attacked by him. More than 10 martial honorables surrounded Feng Sha but did not attack. They were obviously waiting for reinforcements. However, they did not want to just sit around and wait. Lu Ning, bring a group of people and kill that stupid bird and its owner. If they escape, I'll hold you responsible. Lu Su shouted coldly. Lu Ning's face changed. Now that she had fully activated her cultivation, she had recovered her memories. She knew that the one who had escaped was none other than the Honorable War King Yi Qinghan from 8 years ago. The man she loved wanted her to lead a group of people to kill Yi Qinghan. However, Lu Ning only hesitated for a moment. Then, she led a group of strong cultivators on Owl Dragon's star to ride the cloud-piercing boat into the sky. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Hundreds of cloud-piercing boats broke through the sky at an extremely fast speed. However, Feng Sha did not even look at them. If Yi Qinghan could not even deal with this group of juniors, he was not worthy of Feng Sha's help. The white clouds in the void rolled backward, and the Milky Way flowed in reverse. The friction of the cloud-piercing boat created flames that illuminated the Xiaolong region. Yi Qinghan's cloud-piercing boat had been personally given to him by Stan Khan. It was much faster than Lu Ning's cloud-piercing boat, and the quality was also much better. However, there were too many people. They came from all directions and were about to surround him. The parrot's eyelids twitched, but it didn't cry out in fear of disturbing Yi Qinghan. The corners of Yi Qinghan's lips curled up in a mocking smile. When he had piloted the cloud-piercing ship through the various galaxies, they had still been in their mother's wombs. He was still lacking when it came to fighting with him. Sit. I am going to crash. Yi Qinghan's eyes shone with a cold light. He looked at the cloud-piercing boat in front of him and pressed the speed button without hesitation. Whoosh! The cloud-piercing boat turned into a rainbow, dragging a fire dragon with it as it charged at the other party. The Zhang family's experts were riding a cloud-piercing boat. The outside was covered with true essence. They were originally very confident. However, when they saw Yi Qinghan driving the cloud-piercing boat like a madman, their hair stood on end. Their eyes were filled with shock. Quick! Dodge! God-slaying eagle, defend the cloud-piercing boat? In the pilot's cabin, Yi Qinghan smiled disdainfully. His divine sense locked onto the cloud-piercing boat. Yi Qinghan's cloud-piercing boat was covered in a layer of black scales. It was completely covered by the god-slaying eagle's true essence. It could block at least 30% of the impact. Boom! 2 cloud-piercing boats worth millions collided in the Star River. One of them was broken in half. The corpses on it were instantly burned to dust. The astral winds blew and the corpses disappeared without a trace. When enemies met on a narrow path, the brave would emerge victorious. If the 2 cloud-piercing boats collided head-on, the most that would happen was that both sides would be severely injured. The quality of the collision wouldn't change the overall situation. But how could the Zhang family dare to collide? They wanted to change their course and face Yi Qinghan. How could they not be smashed apart? Yi Qinghan pierced through one of the cloud-piercing boats and flew away. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They felt their hands and feet turn cold. As they watched the Zhang family's cloud-piercing boat quickly burn into nothingness, they didn't dare to run in front of Yi Qinghan to stop him. Lu Ning's face was cold and indifferent. She chased after Yi Qinghan, not giving him any face. Yi Lingyu followed unhurriedly in the middle. He didn't help Yi Qinghan or Lu Ning. Big brother, what are you doing? Yi Jianma looked at Yi Lingyu with curiosity. Protect him and leave this place. Yi Lingyu's eyes flashed with a gentle light as he lightly said. You seem to know him. I feel that this person is very strange. Yi Jianma propped up her chin with her small hand and said doubtfully. Strange in what way? His soul, body, and realm are all different. It's like a powerhouse took over his body and was reborn. Yi Jianma's words revealed Yi Qinghan's situation, causing Yi Lingyu's brows to twitch. He quickly said, Don't tell anyone about him. Do you understand? Not even Master. I know. Big brother, you think so highly of him, and he's someone who took over his body and was reborn. This person must be Yi Qinghan, Supreme Yi Qinghan, who died in battle on Owl Warstar, right? Yi Jianma quickly deduced Yi Qinghan's true identity. Yi Lingyu smiled. As expected, he couldn't hide anything from Yi Jianma. I've already divined that he won't face a great calamity. These people shouldn't be able to stop him. The broken flute in Yi Jianma's hand disappeared, and 2 black copper coins appeared. They were emitting a gloomy light, and the patterns on them were like the great path of heaven's mystery. Almost nothing could be hidden from this little girl. Don't touch these 2 copper coins. Don't touch them again. Yi Lingyu's expression changed, and his tone became dignified. Yi Jianma stuck out her tongue and quickly put away the copper coins. She sat aside obediently. If Yi Qinghan saw these 2 copper coins, he would be able to confirm Yi Jianma's identity in an instant. On Owl Dragon Star, more and more great martial venerables gathered. Feng Sha didn't care at all. His aura exploded, and a monstrous evil spirit filled the air. His murderous intent shocked everyone. He took a step forward and instantly defeated the joint force of the crowd. You want to go against me with just the likes of you? Think carefully before you act. Don't say that I didn't warn you. If you annoy me, Owl Dragon Star will be the second Owl Warstar. Feng Sha glanced at Lu Su and the others coldly and said arrogantly, I'm going to get the evil blood essence. If you want to stop me, ask your region master to come here personally. Let's see if he dares to attack me. Feng Sha's evil spirit soared into the sky, and his murderous intent filled the sky. He slashed with his saber, and it seemed to tear the world apart. Several great martial venerables in front of him retreated to the sides. He took advantage of the situation and stepped into Tianshui City, and went straight to the forbidden area behind the city master's mansion. Feng Sha's eyes were like torches, and he glanced at the forbidden area. He couldn't help but be curious. He had already entered the back mountain, but he hadn't found the evil blood essence. How did the parrot know? Lu Su and the others hurried over and shouted, What are you doing? This is the ancestral land of the Lu family. Please leave immediately. What are you talking about? Treasures belong to those who are fated to get them. Didn't you say that Yi Qinghan is just a selfish villain? He would rather let the godly martial emperor's code disappear in the river of history than benefit the world. He is a sinner of the human race. You hid the evil blood essence and didn't let me use it. Aren't you a sinner of the human race? Feng Sha raised his eyebrows and scolded in a cold voice. Lu Su's face turned purple, and his body trembled with anger. He was speechless. Get out of my way. Don't force me to attack, or I'll raze Tianshui City to the ground. Feng Sha's murderous intent rushed out of his body, and it was extremely dense. The flowers and plants in the back mountain withered instantly. It was terrifying. Lu Su's hands and feet were cold. He looked at the indifferent Feng Sha and knew that he didn't care about human lives. If he angered him, Tianshui City would really be razed to the ground. Tianshui City was an important property of the Lu family. If it was razed, the loss would be immeasurable. Gulp, Lu Su swallowed a mouthful of saliva and let Feng Sha wreak havoc in the ancestral land, looking for the blood evil essence. The cold light in Feng Sha's eyes almost condensed into a solid substance. Wherever his eyes passed, the mountain rocks cracked. After a long time, he stared at a tombstone. He reached out his hand and poured out his vital essence, shattering the array on the tombstone. He pulled the tombstone out from the ground, and the evil chi rushed out in all directions, suppressing the vitality of heaven and earth. Countless practitioners in Tianshui City fell into a coma. Even the ordinary Tao masters were trembling, as if they were being stared at by a terrifying evil spirit. Feng Sha was not surprised, but happy. He reached out his hand to grab the tombstone. He grabbed a black iron box. The iron box had already decayed, and it disappeared with a light shake. A fist-sized black stone was emitting a light that could steal people's souls. The strong corrosiveness caused the bones of Feng Sha's hand to decay instantly, and the eerie white bones were exposed. This was no longer an ordinary blood evil essence. It had been hidden in the ancestral grave of the Lu family for many years. It had already evolved into a level 6 blood evil essence, which was enough to kill a great martial venerable. Ha ha ha, the theory of cause and effect is indeed true. The cause that I have planted, I have now obtained the effect that I have now. Feng Sha's face was ferocious. The piercing pain from his arm and soul did not make him let go. Instead, he used the bones of his hand to tightly hold onto the blood evil essence. His entire person was like a creature that had crawled out of hell. Lu Su was furious. He had a body full of battle power, but he did not dare to act wantonly. On one hand, Feng Sha was too terrifying. On the other hand, he did not want to destroy Tianshui City. When he killed the Yi family, he did not show any mercy. That was because he did not feel any heartache when the Yi family was destroyed. However, how could Tianshui City be the same? This is a treasure left behind by my Lu family's ancestors. You are robbing me. No matter what organization you are from, I will not let you take away the blood evil essence today. You better put down the blood evil essence immediately and I will pretend that nothing happened today. Lu Su shouted in a deep voice. Feng Sha coldly stared at Lu Su. This blood evil essence was very important to his cultivation. He had searched for it for many years, but he could not find it. Now that he had found it, how could he let it go? What if I insist on taking it? Feng Sha coldly asked. Lu Su was furious. It had always been his Lu family that stole other people's treasures. He did not expect that today it would be stolen by someone else, and in such a forceful manner. Chapter 173. In Tianshui City, in the forbidden area behind the city master's residence, Feng Sha's right arm was covered in blood and bones. Evil qi filled the air and intertwined around his body. Together with his terrifying aura and the word "kill" embroidered on his shoulder, he suppressed more than 10 martial revered experts on the spot. What if I insist on taking it? A disdainful expression was filled with sarcasm and mockery as he looked at the common people with a smile. Lu Su was flustered and exasperated. He hated the stupid parrot. He did not understand how the parrot knew that there was a treasure in their forbidden area. Even Lu Ning did not know about the evil blood essence. In the entire Lu family, it was passed down from generation to generation. Fellow cultivator, you come from a wealthy family. How can you do such a thing? Lu Su was furious, but he did not dare to attack. You led the extermination of Xiao Zhanxing, didn't you? You wanted the divine martial emperor's code, so you besieged Xiao Zhanxing and turned it into hell. Then, you framed Yi Qinghan for not knowing how to appreciate kindness and was unwilling to share the divine martial emperor's code. Now that I want the evil blood essence, are you willing to let me take it? Or do you want me to slaughter Xiao Zhanxing and report to the organization that I have exterminated a group of human sinners and obtained the evil blood essence? Feng Sha squinted his eyes. The soul devourer Tachi on his back began to tremble as if it was thirsting for blood. Lu Su and the others felt their hair stand on end. They thought that Feng Sha and Yi Qinghan were good friends and had come back to take revenge. They were shocked and asked cautiously, "Who are you? What is your relationship with Yi Qinghan?" "I don't know Yi Qinghan. I just want to speak up for him. I've already investigated part of the truth of what happened back then." "Do you want me to tell you everything?" Feng Sha asked disdainfully. "What do you know? Don't try to trick me." Lu Su was shocked. Not many people knew the truth. Where did this terrifying young man come from? I went to Monarch Xin Ye's palace and killed his crown prince. I obtained some useful information. For example, you joined forces with more than 100 martial venerables and even foreign experts to slaughter Xiao Zhanxing. In the end, you framed Yi Qinghan. Enough? Kid, I don't care where you are from, but you are not leaving Evil Dragon Planet today. Lu Su's murderous intent rose. A beam of light flashed across the sky as he anxiously waited for Emperor Xin Ye's support. Ha ha, even if I went to the Domain Lord's place of seclusion and wanted to leave, he wouldn't dare to stop me. You clowns. Anyone who tries to stop me will die. Feng Sha waved his right hand and the blood evil essence disappeared. Then, his flesh and blood regrew. It was crystal clear, and the soul-devouring Tachi appeared in his hand. The evil Qi was strong enough to destroy a mid-level Tao master. Boom! The Qi of the Feng Qi exploded. The ancestral land behind the mountain of the Lu family was razed to the ground. The tombstones were broken one after another. In the blink of an eye, it rushed out of the back mountain and affected the city leader's office. Lu Su was shocked and shouted to the crowd, "Attack in the void!" Whoosh! Whoosh! More than 10 terrifying auras soared into the sky. They didn't want to fight on Xiao Dragon's star anymore, as they were afraid that their clansmen would be implicated. The destructive power of a great martial venerable was too strong. This level had already surpassed the peak of the Tao Master level and entered the complete Tao Master realm. It could be regarded as a half-step immortal. It could destroy a star with a wave of its hand and kill millions of people with a stomp of its feet. Blood and bones piled up like mountains. Although Feng Sha didn't care about countless creatures, he didn't want to kill too much. With a stomp of his feet, half of Tianshui City collapsed. A terrifying crack extended for thousands of miles along the forbidden land behind the mountain. His body turned into a terrifying sword and soared into the sky. Slash! The overbearing and arrogant voice exploded like thunder. The Qi rushed to all directions and reached the depths of the Milky Way. Swish! The sword light split the sky and blinded everyone's eyes, making them absent-minded. Whoosh! The sword slashed horizontally and went straight for Xiahou Yuan. Xiahou Yuan's hair stood on end. He roared and a huge sword appeared in his hand. It was 3 meters long and sharp. With a wisp of sword qi, it shattered the shackles of the sky. He used all the vital essence in his body and waved the huge sword. A huge defensive shield with a radius of dozens of meters was formed. Boom! 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 More than 10 consecutive explosions tore through everyone's eardrums. Feng Sha had actually slashed out dozens of times in the blink of an eye. His inch strike technique was not any weaker than Yi Qinghan's back then. In fact, it was even better. Hum! The huge sword let out a long hum. The ear-piercing sound spread for thousands of miles and alarmed half of the Xiaolong region. Break for me! Feng Sha was disdainful. He twisted his waist and suddenly exploded with a force of 10 million jin. He swung his right arm and forcefully broke the huge sword. More than half of the huge sword flew into the depths of the Milky Way. Only a small part of the sword hilt was left in Xiahou Yuan's hand. Puff! Xiahou Yuan's withering qi and blood boiled instantly. His vitality was dissipating more than 10 times faster than before. His white hair danced in the wind. He spat out a mouthful of essence blood and retreated a few hundred steps. It seemed like more than 10 moves, but in fact, it happened in an instant. No one had time to support him. Space-breaking chain slash. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Feng Sha slashed dozens of times. The trajectory of each slash was very strange. They were very far away from Xiahou Yuan. It seemed useless, but in fact, it was extremely terrifying. The last slash was aimed at Xiahou Yuan's real body. The sword light in front of it actually exploded and surrounded Xiahou Yuan, making it impossible for him to dodge. Shameless bastard, I sentence you to death in the name of killing. Xiahou Yuan was terrified. He stared at the last slash coming from the void. He could not dodge, he could only block it. He raised half of the sword hilt in his hand, intending to block the last slash. Boom! Pucci, two sounds were heard almost at the same time. The soul-devouring sword descended from the void and split the sword hilt in the blink of an eye. It then slashed down from Xiahou Yuan's shoulder and directly split him in half. The soul-devouring sword flashed and directly swallowed his soul and vitality. Xiahou Yuan's corpse fell from the sky like a withered tree branch. Not a single drop of essence blood was spilled. Everyone gasped and their hair stood on end. They looked at Feng Sha in horror, as if they had seen a ghost. Xiahou Yuan was a great martial honorable. He did not even have time to display his peak battle strength. He was killed in 2 breaths. No one had time to support him. How strong was Feng Sha exactly? He was probably not weaker than Yi Qinghan back then. The soul-devouring sword swallowed Xiahou Yuan's soul, and became even more terrifying. Feng Sha's black robes fluttered and emitted rays of light. It was like a celestial light was attached to him. He was accompanied by the laws and did not lose any blood. Celestial sect Taoist robes. The robes he is wearing are immortal sect robes. It's a 6th grade martial honorable. Even if we kill him, we won't be able to break his defense. Lu Su was terrified and retreated. The immortal sect robes were naturally special battle robes made by immortal sect cultivators. They had their own defensive array and could block 50 to 60% of an immortal sect cultivator's strength. 50% of an immortal sect cultivator's strength was enough to kill countless great martial honorables. However, the immortal sect robes could block it. If a great martial honorable were to attack the immortal sect robes, it would be like an ant trying to shake the heavens. It really looks like the immortal sect robes. There are laws intertwining and flowing celestial light. Who are you? There are not many people in the younger generation who have the immortal sect robes. As a member of the royal family, how can you attack us? Many great martial honorables were terrified. They wanted to use words to provoke Feng Sha's Dao heart and make him stop. I've said it before. Whoever can withstand 3 of my attacks will be given a name. I'm leaving now. Who dares to? Feng Sha was about to leave when a few rainbows appeared in the sky. Their auras were monstrous and interrupted him. Amitabha, benefactor, your evil qi is so strong. You're definitely a disaster for the human race. Come with me to the Buddha and let him purify you. Azura Qian Ye's Buddhist light shot into the sky and his magic power flowed through his golden body. He was majestic. However, he was a little reckless. He didn't even understand the situation and wanted to purify Feng Sha. Such a strong evil qi. It's exactly the same as the evil qi on my son's wound. I'm going to crush you alive. Emperor Shen Yi was furious. His anger almost burned the stars in the universe. He raised his sword and rushed towards Feng Sha. In an instant, more than 10 great martial honorables appeared in the sky above Owldragon's star. They were all people who had participated in the massacre of Owlfall Star. They surrounded the Edge Fiend tightly. Feng Sha raised his eyebrows and smiled coldly. These people were just as Yi Qinghan had said. They were shameless and wanted to fight with numbers. Emperor Shen Ye's son had died tragically. He had been dismembered and tortured to death. How could he not hate him? The moment he saw Feng Sha, he knew that he was the murderer. He couldn't hold back his anger and rushed forward without even looking. Lu Su didn't even have the chance to warn him. Xiao, one sword paradise pierced towards Feng Sha's chest. The void shackles couldn't stop him at all. Feng Sha laughed coldly. He didn't even dodge. Without blinking, He kept his soul devouring Tachi and waited for Emperor Shen Yi to arrive. Emperor Shen Yi was overjoyed. He thought that Feng Sha was scared out of his wit. Without hesitation, he increased his speed and stabbed towards Feng Sha's chest without mercy. Boom! Feng Sha's clothes emitted an overflowing light. The laws and great Daos gathered and interweaved with lightning, blocking the crazy attacks. The fifth-grade sword was imprisoned by the laws. Emperor Shen Yi didn't even have the chance to draw his sword. His eyes were filled with shock. Feng Sha smiled cruelly and clenched his fist. He raised the iron wall and smashed it into Emperor Shen Ye's head. Boom! 1. Gotcha! Emperor Shen Ye's head was hit and his neck was almost broken. His broken body was like a kite with a broken string. He smashed through space and crashed towards Owldragon Star. His entire being was stunned. It was as if his head had been hit by a fifth-grade sledgehammer. His eyes rolled back and his knowledge sea was in a mess. Even his brain juice was spurting out. A large amount of evil chi rushed into his body, causing him to lose consciousness. He was the first marshal revered to fall to such a state. Even if I killed your son, so what? Feng Sha sneered. His figure flashed and he instantly caught up with Emperor Shen Yi, who was falling rapidly. He lifted his leg and kicked right at Emperor Shen Yi's stomach, smashing him into the shape of a bow. In an instant, Emperor Shen Yi's broken body crashed into the ground. The ground cracked and the cracks were so deep that they couldn't see the bottom. Blood stained the ground. Shuraqian Ye's mouth twitched. He immediately retracted the Buddhist golden light to avoid Feng Sha's attention. Bald monk, you are the one who wants to purify me? Okay, bring me to your temple and I will cultivate with you for a while. Feng Sha laughed coldly. Feng Sha's combat strength was no weaker than Yi Qinghan's peak combat strength. With the celestial sect Dao robe, if the celestial sect didn't come out, no one would be his match. Even if all of them attacked together, they wouldn't be able to harm a single strand of his hair. The strong and overbearing aura suppressed the dozens of great martial honorables such that they didn't dare to breathe. They were afraid that he would find them. Shuraqian Ye's face was ashen white. He placed his palms together and chanted. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.